that will be put to them in a referendum later this year. The wording: do you approve this proposed alteration to the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing a voice? Now the federal government begins the task of winning over the public as the Liberals continue to demand details on the proposed advisory body. So Labor may have to fight a referendum campaign without bipartisan support. To succeed, the referendum will need a national majority to vote yes, as well as a majority of people in a majority of states.
And the federal government appears to have conceded it'll struggle to get its $10 billion housing fund passed over the next week. It's designed to build 30,000 social and affordable homes over 5 years. As a stopgap measure, the government's announced the states and territories will be given an extra $67 million over the next 12 months to help provide services for those who find themselves homeless. The state's road tolls risen again after a crash in the hills yesterday. A car ran into a tree at Strathalbyn. A 74-year-old local woman died at the scene. Her death brings the road toll to 37. It was 16 at this time a year ago. Tougher rules are being brought in restricting transgender athletes from competing in global events. Male to female transgender athletes who've gone through male puberty are being excluded from female competition. World Athletics has also announced Russia's 7-year doping suspension's over, but athletes remain banned due to the invasion of Ukraine. TikTok's chief executive has testified in the US House Committee amid fears the Chinese-owned app is giving personal data to the Chinese government. The US, UK and New Zealand governments have banned the app from their devices, and Australia could soon follow suit. Xiao Chen has told Congress the app has grown immensely and there are protection measures in place for users.
Our approach has never been to dismiss or trivialize any of these concerns. We have addressed them with real action. Now, that's what we've been doing for the last 2 years, building what amounts to a firewall that seals off protected US user data from unauthorized foreign access.
There's chaos on the streets of France as nationwide protests enter their 9th day. Police are firing tear gas as hundreds of thousands of people march across France, angry at the president's plan to raise the pension age. Emmanuel Macron says he's standing firm on the proposed changes, which would come into force by the end of the year. And Prince William has met with the President of Poland on the second day of his surprise visit to the country. The heir to the throne has also laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The Prince's visit's intended to highlight Britain's support for Ukraine. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Carlton has defeated reigning premiers Geelong by 8 points at the MCG. The final score 13-12-90 to 12-10-82. Charlie Curnow booted 5 goals for the Blues. Coach Michael Voss says he was proud with how his side played out the last few minutes of the final term.
You know, we were sort of absorbing a fair bit, sort of from about 7 minutes to go. And it wasn't quite going the way that we wanted it. But in the last 3.5 minutes, I thought we executed really, really well.
Still on footy, Adelaide has failed in its bid to overturn or downgrade a 3-match suspension handed to forward Shane McAdam. He comes out of the side that will host Richmond tomorrow, while Port Adelaide will head to Melbourne today ahead of tomorrow's blockbuster against Collingwood at the MCG. Travis Boak named as an emergency, meaning he may still play as a sub for the match. Well, Victoria has reached 8 for 194 at stumps on day one of the Shield final against Western Australia at the WACA. Opener Ashley Chandra Singh will resume on 46 not out after facing a whopping 266 deliveries yesterday. The Socceroos will take on Ecuador tonight in the first of 2 matches against the nation, the second one to be played next Tuesday. And the LA Lakers have got their NBA playoff hopes back on track after a 122-111 point win against the Phoenix Suns. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Partly cloudy, heading for 24. Saturday, mostly sunny, 25. A shower or 2 on Sunday, 24. And showers on Monday, 22. Right now, 15. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is FIVEAA Breakfast.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Friday on 5AA Breakfast, 24th of March. Ryan Fitzgerald in the studio before 7 o'clock. If you need some help with your tips for the rest of the weekend, Fitzy's got you covered. We'll get Timmy G to look into his crystal ball as well just after 7 o'clock today as to what lies ahead for the weekend. I imagine he'll be seeing good things for Orazio Fantasia and the Port Adelaide Football Club. Orazio will be on after 7:30 in the studio to reflect on what was just an incredible first-round performance from Port Adelaide and his teammate Jason Horne-Francis. We'll get into all that with him at 7:30 today. Feedback Friday takes place after 8 o'clock. We'll flash back in time with Michael Smith at 8:30. And then the embattled Health Minister. I think you're officially embattled at the point at which you're dealing with no confidence motions, aren't you? Health Minister Chris Picton after 8:30. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Embattled. It's one of those terms you sort of... You gotta wait to deploy it because you want it to stick.
Yeah.
Is having a no confidence motion brought against you by a handful of MPs remaining after a landslide defeat? Does that make you embattled?
It's the closest anyone in this constitution of the government has come to being embattled. So,
see, I actually think you can say that anyone who is the health minister is by definition embattled in Australia these days, because there's so many of the problems that we've got as a society, regardless of which state you're in, are kind of intractable. So I reckon when they're handing out the portfolios, and because Chris Picton does seem like the world's nicest bloke, as did Stephen Wade before him. Remember Stephen Wade used to come in here like a bundle of nerves with all these papers, and he'd sit here going, okay, well, they're going to ask him, they might ask me something about what the repat upgrade's going on, they might ask me something about the cancer scandal, SA pathology, there might be something about the women's and children's. And it was like, well, he's a lawyer, isn't he? It was like he had 406 potential answers in front of him. You couldn't see him. He looked like he was a reflex photocopy paper salesman.
Always well prepared.
Very well prepared.
Always well prepared.
But is it like some practical joke that premiers play on, you know, we're gonna make Chris health minister? He won't see this one coming.
It seems like a good job to give anyone who you think might have political aspirations in the party, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm surprised that Malley didn't make Steve Mulligan the health minister. Which might explain why David Spears has made Ashton Hearn shadow health spokesman.
Oh, see, I don't think it works that way in opposition, though.
No, because it might actually raise your profile. She's probably got the highest profile of any Liberal MP now.
That's right.
Which is pretty good, given she's been there for about an hour.
That said, Peter Malinowskis, for a very short period of time, though, was the health minister.
Close the repat.
Look at him, he's gone on to bigger and better things.
That's right. But
it's
he says
achievable.
It was a bad idea. It wasn't his idea. The idea had been made before he was the minister. The decision, rather, had been made before he was the minister.
Yeah. Hey, we've got a meat tray to give away today. Brighton City Meats. They specialised in locally sourced grass-fed beef, 255 Brighton Road at Brighton. We are asking you this
Great butcher shop, Brighton City Meats.
This will be
support your local butcher.
Yes.
You know, really sadly, the butcher at Clapham, Meet Your Needs, which is a fantastic butcher shop, this year on Springbank Road, it's closed down.
Local butchers are winning the war, though, aren't they?
Generally, they are.
They're winning the war.
Yeah.
I think in no small part because of Meat Tray Friday.
I think that's a big part of it.
So here's the thing. This morning we thought we'd go for the controversy-free and very easy sort of a question for you for Meat Tray Friday. Just tell us where you think nuclear waste should be stored. Where should the nuclear waste dump be? Very simple one this morning. It seems everyone's just pointing the finger at South Australia now. Including our Premier.
Yeah, he started it.
And former South Australian Senator and Liberal power broker Nick Minchin.
Nick Minchin, who, interestingly, now lives in Noosa Nick, showing his commitment to South Australia by moving away as far as possible. A lot of people, they given half the chance, go for the weather to Queensland. Maybe Noosa. Maybe Noosa needs a nuclear waste dump.
It's not a bad idea.
It might jar with the sort of tourism vibe it's trying to project, though.
Well, I don't know. Is there any sort of heat that's given off by nuclear waste? Might sort of add to the vibe of the joint.
I'm no expert, but I'd say no.
You
Just
get radiation.
instinctively.
You can get radiation burns, though.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't that more from blasts? Like, this is just sitting there. I mean, it's radioactive. You can't touch it. You wouldn't want to grow vegetables.
Oh, so you imagine it being in housed in something. not like one of those old tyre dumps.
Well, I actually read something about this last week in Science magazine. The world's only fully secure underground nuclear waste storage facility, construction on it finished last year, and it's in Finland, and it's on an island. It's only about 100 k's away from Helsinki, so it's not like it's out in the donga, out in the middle of nowhere. Not sure if they have donga in Finland like we do here in Australia. We've got plenty of it, but they bury it underground in these gigantic copper sort of baskets that they then fill up with this incredibly stable clay-like substance. That's a naturally occurring clay that sets like almost the way you'd seal some potted meat with some clarified butter. Like it just sits there on top.
I think she thinks that was the one that Kevin Scarce, when he did the Royal Commission, looked at. It was under construction and said that would be the model for what we'd do in Australia.
It's got a cool name in Finnish, which means pit in the Finnish language, because it basically is a pit.
Reno in Torrensville, where would you put the nuclear waste?
Morning, guys. How are you today?
Good, Reno. How are you, mate? Good to see you the other night at the Thebby.
Yeah, all good. Did you have a good night?
That's great. And, mate, thanks for sending those tickets in.
Oh, yeah, I thought you might want them. Yeah, because they don't have tickets anymore. So
yeah, printed tickets as a souvenir.
No problem at all, David. Well done. Well, only one place to go, really.
Where's
the King's Reserve.
Yes. Reno,
now,
you might have just won the meat tray.
King's
let's see
Reserve.
what comeback they've got.
Yeah, well, maybe be careful what you wish for. The Crows training facility might look like a pretty good option when we come with spent fuel rods from our nuclear submarines.
Yeah. Maybe that's in the rejigged plans that we did Breaking at 8 about the other day.
That could be part of the deal.
Well, the residents, they've listed a whole pile of things they don't want. That's the action group, not the residents in toto.
No, that's the 89 of the 65,000 residents, yes.
But I reckon one thing they didn't say in there was they don't want a nuclear waste dump as part of it.
They didn't explicitly rule it out, did they?
They should have really thought this one through, because they didn't see the yellow cake train coming on that one. What about the old footy park site?
Oh, what, Westlake? You want to dump it at Westlakes, do you?
Well, it's already sort of got that cauldron-like shape.
What about the fact that there's all houses there now and there is no footy park, really?
I don't live there. It's not in my backyard.
Yeah.
Actually, come to think of it, there's a bit of room at Wavell Showgrounds. Imagine that. Imagine all the beardos who like going along to the farmers market on Sunday. Down the side bit of the showgrounds where they put the goats and the sheep during the show, there's this giant glowing orb of people turning up and is that rocket grown in Gamaraka?
Hope there were no pesticides used on this. Nothing artificial.
Says the person with two heads behind the counter.
14 after 6. Where should the nuclear waste go? Let us know. 8223 0000. Text us on the Duttons text line. Duttons, magnificent people up there in the Adelaide Hills. 3 dealerships and 10 franchises. Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. Duttons, easy to do business with.
Very funny text here. Rob says, guys, Coote should be the health minister. At least the ambulances would go faster. That's a cracking text.
Maybe the health department just needs a little bit of conversational swearing. Just to kick things on. You know.
Rev them up.
Just, guys, maybe give the old person who's 93-year-old a pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
You bunch of idiots. 15 after 6.
Do you want to improve your memory, concentration and learning ability? There's a one-a-day formula called Caruso's Mega Memory, which contains the herbs Brahmi and Ginkgo biloba. Brahmi improves memory, learning and supports mental concentration and clarity. Ginkgo supports healthy blood circulation, brain function and brain performance. Caruso's Mega Memory is made in Australia and comes with a 100% money-back guarantee. Try Caruso's Mega Memory, available from leading health stores and pharmacies. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Whether you're heading off or staying home this Easter, Jaycar has some cracking deals for you. Save up to 40% off Brass Monkey portable fridge freezers, 20% off campsite power, and up to 50% off dash cams and reversing cameras. Protect your home with up to 20% off CCTV kits and 30% off cameras. And Bluetooth speakers, portable projectors and antennas are now up to half price. These and more great Jaycar Easter savings on now at 7 stores across Adelaide.
Sold by McGain again.
And because there's limited stock out there, it is vital to get along to these open inspections.
Tomorrow from 11 to 11:30am, Mike Dobbin and Zoe Ball are opening 104 Windbanks Road, Happy Valley, set on a fantastic 1,280 square metre block. This split-level 3-bedroom home offers 3 living areas, including a formal lounge with fireplace, updated kitchen with stone benchtops, pitched entertaining area, double garage, and undercover parking for a boat or caravan. This is like the old-fashioned quarter-acre block, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Best offers by April 5.
That's a whopping block. Also tomorrow from 12:15 to 12:45, the excellent Mike and Zoe, they're opening 32 Simone Crescent, Morphett Vale. It's a beautifully presented 3-bedroom home, perfect either to nest or invest, featuring a 2-way bathroom, open-plan living and dining rooms, neat kitchen, undercover entertaining area, and a LUG lock-up garage, 495 to 535k.
Take a look at these properties and all the McGain listings at mcgain.com.au.
Don't miss the Southgate GWM Mad March 4-day sale event. Score incredible deals, free rego, free CTP, plus your choice of 3 huge bonuses. This 4-day sale event must end this Saturday, only at Southgate GWM. LVD 152780.
So what were you saying about battery-powered garden tools over petrol ones?
They're often lighter, less noisy, and some battery-powered tools give the petrol ones a run for their money now.
Oh, and Stanford's got battery-powered mowers.
Heaps. And trimmers, blowers.
So why haven't you replaced the old petrol ones?
I'd never remember to charge them. What's that?
This? Oh, just a little battery rotation chart I made. What colours do they come in?
You're the best, hon.
Stanford Mowers, 590 Main North Road, Jeps Cross. stanfordmowers.com.au.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
18 minutes after 6. We'll get to the news headlines in a moment. A few more Meat Tray Friday entries thanks to Brighton City Meats. They specialise in locally sourced grass-fed beef. 255 Brighton Road at Brighton. Dave's in Blakeview. Where should we put the nuclear waste, Dave?
Back up at Woomera, mate, on the defence lands up there for a serious one, and then do a deal with BHP and drop it back in the hole where they're digging it out of.
Yeah. Well, there's an idea.
Like a recycling program.
Well, we dig up the uranium. Thank you, Dave. I like that. Woomera, was there not a suggestion the other week that putting the waste near where we do weapons testing is probably not a good idea?
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah.
Because someone told me
right.
about it last week who's in the know, saying, no, you couldn't put it there. Nick Minchin's out there today, though. He's saying Woomera.
Julian Blakeview, good morning.
Good morning, boys. We could just about do a double deal here. I reckon we could put it in Lydia Thorpe's backyard and we could move in Dictator Dan next door as well.
It's sort of shared housing arrangement. They're into shared stuff, so why not?
Yeah, exactly. They love it. I like that one, Julie. That's good. She had got herself into a bit of strife yesterday. The old Lydia Thorpe.
Politics at times is just a circus, isn't it?
We'll play that later on the audio and also on the live stream.
She was manhandled by the AFP.
That cop looked like he gave her a bit of rougher than usual handling, though. I thought
he clearly had no idea who she was.
No, he wouldn't if he knew that was the Honourable Lydia Thorpe.
But charging randomly at a protest with a flag waving, sort of odd behaviour for a senator for Australia, wasn't it?
Well, she's into the direct action. Crikey,
it's a bizarre scene.
Those protests, everything about them, just... You made the excellent point the other day. If you actually wrote a transcript of what they're chanting, it's just infantile on both sides.
Oh, it's like kindergartners who've just learnt the word for private parts.
Yeah.
That's generally what the debate boils down to.
Most of
these
the
two mobs of people get together.
The P word in them.
Yeah, that's right. The road toll has risen again following a crash in the hills yesterday. I note you... rather optimistically at the start of your column said, hopefully I won't have to revise the figures in this before it's released. And I read the column this morning, and at the top there's a note saying, unfortunately, we've had to revise. This was written before another death on our roads.
I couldn't believe it. And I filed that column yesterday. I finished writing it at 12:30. It was up online at 2, and I think about 4 o'clock, the editor, Gemma Jones, had to put an editor's note on it saying, since this was published, with the death toll's now gone up to 37.
A car ran into a tree at Strathalbyn. A 74-year-old local woman died at the scene. Her death brings the road toll to 37, 16 this time last year. Fake voicemails using audio that sounds like your son or daughter may be the new frontier for scammers. Fraudsters are using artificial intelligence known as deepfake technology to create phony video or audio. Similar to the text messages that say that your child has run out of money and needs help, the recordings are being used to trick people into thinking their son or daughter is calling. We are entering a really scary new, I don't know if it's decade, I don't know if it's 20 years, but a period with the sort of technology that can mimic people and do videos of people and things that have never existed and happened that will be indistinguishable from the real thing. And I don't know, we're certainly not prepared for it, but I don't know how you possibly get prepared for it.
The really scary thing, though, is the rise of the internet has already shown that the feeble-minded and gullible and impressionable or unhinged are served extremely well by the provision of rolled gold BS online, be it the truth about September 11 or the truth about the moon landing or the truth about how Bill Gates wants to reprogram your mind with this so-called coronavirus vaccine. All of that crap finds a happy place with probably, I don't know, 0.5% of the population, maybe 1%, who knows. So if you've got people out there, and these have been life-altering things. Like everyone now knows what a sovereign citizen is, for example, in this country. Like, society has changed as a result of those trends. So, you know, if we're prepared to believe the written word in a intellectually sort of screwed up and baseless form, what can you do with images? Because a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Or video. The deepfake videos are unbelievable.
Imagine how it could be used in politics, both within nations and against nations. Like you yesterday were showing me during the show all those deepfake pictures of the Trump arrest.
They used artificial intelligence to generate photographs of Donald Trump being arrested in court. At a glance, they look like picture quality. They look completely real. You study him a bit and you can see that the technology's not there, but it will be in a couple of years.
Will you be able to have him protesting his arrest?
You could have him doing anything you want. I don't know. I don't know how you legislate for this. I don't know how you educate for this.
Could you get it to the point, though, where you could get two guys and make them talk for 3 hours about matters of interest to a South Australian audience on Fridays, and no one would know the difference?
Technology is actually too sophisticated to emulate this program. It'd elevate things, I think. Yeah, you can't be too clever.
No, you can't be too stupid.
That's right.
Even the computer draws a line.
All right. The pandemic has led to a 43% drop in the number of skin checks being performed. Advocates are seeking federal funding to turn that around. A pilot project is training nurses in regional areas to operate pop-up clinics which provide free assessments. Skin Check Champion founder Scott Maggs says the process uses artificial intelligence, speaking of which, to detect cancers.
We're the first in the world to do so, and it's really going to help improve the accuracy and efficiency of these kind of skin checks. And then everything's packaged and then shared with a panel of dermatologists. So there's 3 layers of analysis rather than just one.
All right, let's talk sport. Let's talk footy. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Thanks to the excellent Hospital Research Foundation home lottery, where 4 early bird winners will score $250,000. The deadline, midnight tonight. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yeah, let's start there, Will. Interesting just selection. Port Adelaide. Travis Boak didn't make the 22, so he's been named as an emergency, which means he can come on as a sub for tomorrow's game, but hard to crack into that 22 after the way they performed.
That's how well they're going.
You know, so it does say a bit about how they're going, though, doesn't it? That Travis Boak, you know, he is getting on, of course, but, you know, such a wonderful player over the journey.
We're going to get a sense as to how real deal Port are tomorrow, aren't we, in the MCG?
It's huge. It's
that Collingwood game last Friday. I'm not a massive consumer of football, but that was such a good game.
Yeah.
And they're such a good team to watch. But if Port can take it up to the Pies, I reckon they're legitimate.
I think they're going to give it a real crack. I think it'll be a hell of a contest. So, you're going to see Nick Dacos, do they tag him? Jason Horne-Francis, can he sustain what he did last week? There's so many battles. Jeremy Howe's going to be a blow for them. The Power, have got their own weapons, which they can boast. The forward line looked like it was functioning. So a lot to look forward to there. Shane McAdam, it's been a saga all week. That finally came to a close last night. As we suspected, they appealed, they fought, but it was to no avail. So he gets the 3-week suspension. I mean, we all...
Total pile of garbage, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, like we said...
It is a Victorian conspiracy, the way that thing operates.
Well, the severe impact, you go, okay...
Is it not?
And when you compare it to Pickett's, who's high, I think... And some of the commentary from over in the East, I find staggering, calling Pickett's a football action.
Gerard Whaley said that.
I just cannot get it. I cannot wrap my head around it.
You know what his radio show rated last month? Well, I normally wouldn't talk about this, but it rated 1.3. There's a guy in his shed in Minsk with a ham radio who's got more listeners than that bloke.
I reckon the bloke in Minsk wouldn't have described it as a football action either. It's one of the most staggering things I've ever heard.
Anyway...
Sounds like something the AFL would say, verbatim.
And look, I think the Crows did the right thing. I think most fans would say, you fought it, and you flew the flag, you lost, but at least you stood up for your player.
As we said yesterday and the day before, it's like, sometimes you blow up at your kids for something and then you realise halfway through that they haven't done it. But you're committed. You're in there going, all right, well, fine, good, okay, we've all learned our lesson. If you make a dumb decision, sometimes you've got to stick with it.
Yeah.
And that's what the AFL's done.
Yeah, but the AFL goes a step further because you didn't charge your kids for the privilege of an appeals process during which you are never going to change your mind.
That is true.
And Geelong, fellas, are we concerned? 0-2, reigning premiers?
Now, at the start of last year, I reckon we all had them sliding down the bottom of the 8 because they were too old.
And we were right. I mean, they won the premiership.
Yeah, we were right, but we're a year too early.
They got injuries.
No, they're too old.
They got injuries though too.
They do, and that's the thing. I'm just looking at their draw. Gold Coast away next week. Now, Gold Coast actually go okay against Geelong, but you suspect Geelong would win that.
I don't reckon anyone knows anything about the Gold Coast team, apart from the fact that Jack Lukosius is playing for them.
Yeah,
that's all I know
they're
about
so
them. No one
hard
knows
to-
anything about them.
That
team shouldn't exist, really.
They've never made the finals.
How did Tassie not get a team and
I
Gold
know.
Coast did?
Yeah. Dollars.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you reckon Jordan Butts has been harshly dealt with, having had to stand at fullback and watch his midfield not lay glove nor finger on ball or person for about a half of football, and then he gets dropped? It feels pretty harsh.
It's a strange call. I'm not surprised. Tyler Brown didn't have an impact. We called that game with Diddy as a sub last
no
week.
impact.
So Lockie Scholl coming in, I can understand that one. But
Hey, who's rucking for the Crows this weekend?
would it be O'Brien?
Yeah, right.
So no Phil Thorpe. Phil Thorpe's
Count
another one
himself
that's
a bit lucky, I would have thought.
And Phil Thorpe's another one that's been named as a sub, so he could come on, or as an emergency.
They need to make another change because McAdam was named in the team. So
Exactly.
There will be another change at least named today, but jeez. But look,
You guys going tomorrow? You're there?
We're
calling.
We're calling.
We'll be calling it with Campo, who was
I'm
outstanding
not.
last
My
week.
mother-in-law's going with Kate. I'm going to be at home watching it. I'll tell you what, if the second half's anything like it was last week, I'll be watching the New South Wales election results on Sky.
You can tune in, you can hear Rennie and our depressed voices.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
That'll make it interesting.
No, we'll be up and about, I reckon we'll.
I think you're right.
I've got a good feeling.
I'm with you, Rennie. Let's be optimistic. 4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
You don't have to head south to taste your way around McLaren Vale. Just head north to your pals. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through the McLaren Vale region all under one roof. Whether you're a weekend sommelier or just know you like reds, talk wine with your pals and they'll introduce you to their best McLaren Vale pals. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Hello, I'm Andrea Lewis, Head of Animal Welfare for RSPCA South Australia. A lot can change in a generation, but SA's Animal Welfare Act mostly hasn't. You'd be shocked at what's missing, and we legally can't intervene until cruelty has already happened. Without better laws, our RSPCA officers can't help till it's too late. But right now, the state government are listening. So help us give animals a voice to change the law and save animals before March 26. Visit rspcasa.org.au to learn how.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 24 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
A ninth day of demonstrations is playing out across France. Brett McLeod is in Paris.
The streets of Paris are once again scenes of chaos. This is the ninth day of nationwide protests. Riot police firing tear gas as they're confronted by thousands of protesters who've been hurling fireworks, rocks and timber. It's been a record day of mass demonstrations right across the country. What began peacefully has turned to unrest, with shop fronts being smashed, sometimes by anarchist groups taking over the protests. A number of protesters have been injured, at least one officer knocked out. Protesters say they won't be stopping until the president backs down from his fiercely unwanted retirement reforms.
The state's road tolls continuing to climb. A 74-year-old woman lost her life after her SUV slammed into a tree at Strathalbyn yesterday. It brings the road toll to 37, 21 more than a year ago. Supporters of the Voice to Parliament are confident they have the backing of the Australian people ahead of this year's referendum. Both the yes and no camps are stepping up their campaigns. The question Australians will vote on has been released, alongside the proposed constitutional change. Yes Alliance Director Dean Parkin believes when the time comes, the nation will back the Voice.
We're on an absolute unity ticket with the people of Australia. Indigenous people, non-Indigenous people, all share deep frustration about the lack of progress in things like closing the gap, issues like healthcare, youth detention.
Flavoured vapes will be banned and warning labels made mandatory under a proposed crackdown. The medicines regulator wants the nation to keep its tough prescription-only stance on vaping, but is releasing recommendations to tighten import rules and product standards. The TGA wants to eliminate bootleg sales of colourful and flavoured single-use vapes. World Athletics is banning transgender women from female competitions. The governing body's move will exclude male to female transgender athletes who've been through male puberty from international events. A working group will be set up to further consider transgender inclusion. While after 7 years, World Athletics is lifting Russia's doping ban, but the nation's athletes are still barred from international competition due to the war in Ukraine. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe says it's in the best interests of the sport.
Athletes, officials and supporting personnel from Russia and Belarus are still excluded from competition for the foreseeable future due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
The boss of TikTok says claims the app is handing user data over to the Chinese government's preposterous. Zhou Chu has faced questions from US Congress as part of a hearing into the platform's security and safety. The app has already been banned from government devices in the US, UK and New Zealand, and Australia could soon follow suit. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Geelong coach Chris Scott says there's still a lot to like about their start to the season, despite losing by 8 points to Carlton last night.
But in terms of our overall game, it's hard to tell early in the year. Depends how you rate Carlton and Collingwood, I guess. If you take the view that they're good teams, well, you could lose to them in round 17 or round 2, and it doesn't really matter. I get that negative momentum can kind of throw you off the rails a little bit, but we're miles away from that.
The game at the MCG attracting a crowd of close to 56,000. Well, the Crows have decided to bring back Lachie Sholl for tomorrow's twilight clash at home against Richmond. Tyler Brown and Jordan Butts come out of the side, while Shane McAdam is also out suspended for 3 weeks after failing to overturn or downgrade his suspension. And Port Adelaide has decided not to bring Travis Boak into its 22 for tomorrow's blockbuster clash against Collingwood at the MCG. He's been named as an emergency, but could still come on as a substitute for the match. Well, Jordan Thompson has been knocked out of the Miami Open after going down in 3 sets to Slovakia's Alex Molcan. Several other Aussies will be in action later this morning, including Thanasi Kokkinakis. And in some soccer, Australia will take on Ecuador tonight in a friendly in Sydney. There's a chance Adelaide United's Nestoroy Irankunda could come off the bench after being included in the 26-man squad. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Partly cloudy, heading for 24. Saturday mostly sunny, 25. Then a shower or two Sunday, 24. And showers on Monday, 22. Right now, 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive, with dedicated yards including SA's best range of commercials loaded and ready to go, including SA's only dedicated small car and SUV centre, and SA's only large SUV and 4x4 centre suited for any lifestyle. Steinborner still also has the best range of Commodores, from ZBs to the collectibles. View all late model used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
Now, this weekend will be a very special one for SA, as we're on the cusp of becoming the first state to have a First Nations voice to Parliament.
The state government is saying that this is a nation-leading opportunity for South Australia that will demonstrate to the rest of the country the importance of giving First Nations people a great say in the laws and policies that affect their lives.
And that's why this won't just be an historic moment for First Nations people, but for all South Australians.
So on Sunday, there's a special parliamentary sitting where the voice is set to become law, and the government is inviting people to go along if you choose. 11 a.m. this Sunday, the 26th of March, on the steps of Parliament House.
Decor Lighting's big 5-day sale is on now. In-store only. Get 20% off all decorative pendant lighting, table and floor lamps. 5 days only, 24 The Parade, Norwood.
Decorate with Decor Lighting.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 7. Remember, you can participate in the conversation at any time if you're watching along in the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Leave us a comment. Maybe like Shannon and put in a Meat Tray Friday entry. Shannon says, send the spent nuclear waste right up Vladimir Putin's wazoo. Fill him up. With 4 exclamation marks, a thumbs up, and a cheers emoji.
Well, a cheers emoji. It is Friday. I like this one from Corey. He says, if only Shane McAdam used deep fakes and went into the court disguised as Lance Franklin, he would have got off.
Well, this is the future the AFL needs to reckon with, I think.
Yeah. And earlier, our conversation whether Chris Picton is embattled, someone texted in on the Duttons text line saying, not having pillows means you're embattled.
Well, I like combining all those stories. This person says maybe they should put the nuclear waste under Parliament House, insulated with pillows. But it'll be 30 years that we'll need to worry about, and I'll probably be dead by then.
But do we have the pillows?
Well, maybe it would kick our parliamentarians into gear on the pillow question if suddenly they were insulating them from nuclear waste.
One of the many excruciating terms brought from the pandemic was the verb pivot. Hate that word. In the same way, though, that Detmold pivoted to manufacturing masks because we suddenly needed a whole pile of masks, can they make pillows?
Detmold, I think, can do anything they turn their mind to.
Well, let's give them a ring. How hard can it be?
Yeah, an excellent question.
What was that bloke? Stephen Marshall. He was the guy. He was the premier. He got Detmold to do masks. Remember when Steve Marshall had about a 97% approval rating?
He did, for the majority of his term.
He must just be walking around his house in Nord going, how did that happen?
He did a reverse Bradbury, Stephen Marshall, didn't he?
He did.
Terry in Clemzig's called in. Morning to you, Terry.
He was 98 lengths in front and he lost.
Fell over.
Good morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Terry.
Listen, I just wanted to first of all congratulate you guys for letting that lady speak on the old Pillowgate scenario yesterday.
Teresa, she was a cracker, wasn't she? It was excellent.
No, she was fantastic, and I was totally appalled all day, so I spent most of the afternoon, because I'm retired now, ringing politicians' offices. Now, if you heard some of the responses I had, you'd be vomiting by now.
Tell us, Terry, what'd you hear?
Oh, mate, one guy told, you know what he told me? He said, oh, don't worry about the state government. They're sorting this all out. It's in the big picture. I said, don't worry about the big picture. What about the small picture?
Yeah. One pillow. That's all she wanted.
It's not really big picture thinking, getting a pillow for your back, is it?
Yeah, fancy telling me that. What a joke that is. And I just saw last night that they've delivered all these pillows to the hospital now. I don't know where they come from, but that was a great gesture on behalf of somebody, because we were just going to, get the government shamed into it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No,
Terry, thank you for being a foot soldier for the forces of good. Let's go to Ange in Kidman Park. Morning to you, Ange.
Morning, guys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ange.
Oh, the best place is at the Wingfield dump, mate. It couldn't smell any worse, could it?
Put it at the waste at the Wingfield dump. Well, why not?
The Wingfield dump.
Don't know if there is an odour to nuclear waste.
I reckon that dump down McLaren Vale is giving the Wingfield dump a run for its money in the stench department. Although, last time I drove down there, it had been really windy, but there was crap everywhere. I know there's a lot going on with the roadworks, but if you're heading down sort of near Tatachilla Road and the wind's blowing the wrong direction and you haven't got recirc but entry on your air conditioner in the car, my God.
Nasty.
Yeah.
You could put the dump down there.
McLaren Vale?
The nuclear industry hasn't hurt France. They do a bit of cheese and wine there.
Actually, there are a lot of nuclear reactors in Bordeaux.
Exactly. They're everywhere. Except Australia, where we think that they mysteriously taint stuff.
Probably be a hell of a lot less intrusive than that dump.
Be much nicer. That's
it's a good dump, though. I like going to that dump.
19 minutes to 7. Adrian on the Dutton's text line says, all McAdam had to do to get off the charge was to wear either a Richmond or Geelong jumper to the tribunal. So maybe no deep fake required. Just a scarf. Not a bad idea, Adrian. Thank you for that. Gavin says they should put the nuclear waste under the pile of broken political promises. Nobody will ever be able to see it again. Thank you, Gavin. 82230000, the number for the meat tray this morning. Thanks to McGill, Brighton City Meats.
Paul in McGill says, lads, the secret's out. Blakey isn't real. He's just deep fake AI.
Well, I think he was the original. He was doing it before computers. You know, you see those sort of artisans of the past whose roles are now largely taken up by machines who sort of mass produce. That's what Blakey's going to be. You know, remember when people did this?
When there were calligraphers who could do every font known to man.
That's right.
Or woman.
Exactly. He did handcrafted deepfakes.
Blakey. He's an enigma, isn't he?
Speaking of artists, Chris Jarmer is in with Jade Robran, two artists this afternoon for the FIVEAA Food and Wine Show, thanks to Smeg.
Jade's coverage yesterday of the Marriottville crash was phenomenal.
Sensational.
It was really... She was described as 7 News reporter Jade Robran in the Tiser.
Well, she was reporting for Sunrise and Five. She works for both.
Yeah.
She works for both.
Yeah.
So the vision, on 7 last night, they drove past cameraman at the same time of day, that intersection, into the light, looking at the tree that Jade described as being a potential factor in it. And
the sun, the tree, the lighting, all that is clearly an issue. But to me, it does not alter the fact that if it's that glary, you shouldn't be driving into the sun. This would be the first thing I'd say. But how is it that you can't tell that all the other vehicles around you have stopped? Plus, also, when you're going into a school zone, there's warnings before you get to the lights.
Well, see, this will all obviously play out.
It just feels like if you're a defence lawyer, you'd be licking your lips reading all this coverage, because it seems to be like a ready-made alibi.
What do they say? Sometimes the absence of evidence is evidence. How many Voxes have there been of people in the area, locals, people who walk that crossing, dropping the kids off at school? I haven't heard a single person say, this happens here all the time. Those conditions are replicated every single morning.
Yeah,
there's not a single person that said, something needed to be done because this is always happening here, and it was bound to happen.
And you think about the geography of this city, there's always half of town's always going to be driving into the sun in the morning and in the evenings, heading east-west.
Anyway, it won't be that Jade's talking about specifically with Chris Jarmer, of course. They'll be doing food and wine, it being a Friday afternoon. So if you tune in, it's all thanks to Smeg. Building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg and Sip and Save. Let's check traffic, police and weather coming up.
Thanks, Will, and good morning. Roads are working really well today. Just a few things to keep in mind. In the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Got roadworks to keep in mind today. Monopara, lane out of action there. Main North Road near Curtis Road, speeds at 40. Slow going at the moment. South Road as you're driving through Edwardstown with the camera. Sherris Road at Morford Vale. Sign up for MobileCard at mobilecard.com.au for your chance to win a 30k travel voucher and other great prizes. MobileCard, your business sorted. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
G'day, it's Rory Sloane. The Kluger 7-seat SUV is here to move your family and to move you. It's an SUV that knows you'll expect practicality, but want luxury and beautiful design too. There's no need to wait for the kids to grow up. You can have your dream car now. This 7-seater has flexible cargo space thanks to the folding second and third rows. Take a test drive of the new Kluger today at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 21 years of great deals.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
The next evolution in Samsung Galaxy smartphones has finally landed, introducing the Samsung Galaxy S23. We're seeing greater advancements in smartphone cameras. Who doesn't want professional-looking shots? And the S23 is stunning. 50 megapixel brings attention-grabbing epic shots, and nightography lets you capture an epic shot even at night. The Samsung Galaxy S23 screen is dynamic too. An epic bright and adaptive display even outdoors, so you can enjoy it all no matter how bright it gets. Get the new Samsung Galaxy S23 128GB 5G for $0 upfront when you connect to a new Optus $69 a month SIM-only plan for 24 months. Ends March 29th. Minimum cost $1,656, not available with other offers. In-store only. Cancellation fees. Terms and conditions apply.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Most new homes are not designed for specialist disability living, which is fine for some homeowners. But if you're living with a disability and want to build a home that complies with the NDIS SDA guidelines, you need Rossdale Home Life. Rossdale Home Life is leading the way in the provision of accessible housing for all South Australians, and our dedicated Home Life team can provide professional advice on the design and construction of your new home or SDA investment property. Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
Feeling the burn? Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys.
Cheapest Chips.
Stock up for Easter with red tulip hunting eggs or carnival rabbits, 2 for $10. Grab 2-litre True Blue soft drinks, 3 for $5. Lynx or Rexona deodorants, 2 for $7.50. And 500ml Schwarzkopf Biotech shampoo or conditioner, sizzling, $4.99. Check out this week's catalogue for more hot buys in-store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys now.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
Twelve minutes to 7. I always like catching up with Jenny Horvat from the Weather Bureau on a Friday morning because we want you to do the weekend weather forecast. Jenny, good morning to you. How's it looking today and over the course of the next couple of days?
Yeah, look, it's not looking too bad for the next couple of days, but we've got this bit of a change moving through on Sunday and Monday. A little bit of cirrus coming across from the west today, and there's a little bit of lower cloud around the hills today, so a little bit more cloud around than yesterday. It was quite sunny yesterday, but we're still aiming for a top temperature here in the city of around 24 or 25 degrees again. Minimum temperature happened not that long ago, 14.5 at about 6:30, currently 14.6 at our West Terrace Night Apira observation site. Going to be a little bit milder on the coast there, around 23 for today, Mount Barker 22, 25 for Elizabeth. Mostly sunny day for Saturday. We are looking at a top temperature of around 25 degrees after a minimum of 13. But on Sunday, we've got this trough of low pressure out to the west. Ahead of that, looks like it's going to develop quite a significant cloud band, so we will start to see some shower activity developing during the day on the Sunday. We're still looking at a top temperature maybe around 23 or 24 degrees, and then on Monday we will see our winds actually shift more to the south, so still a good chance to be seeing some shower activity with that system on the Monday. Temperature back down to around 22 degrees, and then following that we're going to remain in a moist southwesterly airstream for pretty much the remainder of the week, so we couldn't rule out some shower activity during the week next week as well. So after a bit of a dry week, we are looking at maybe a little bit more of a wetter week. Potentially Monday at this stage is looking like the wetter days, and those temperatures coming down to around more like 21 or 22 degrees. And just quickly, for anyone heading out on the waters today, we've got our southeasterly winds of around 10 knots. We'll see them tending a bit more southwesterly with the sea breeze in the middle of the day, possibly picking up to 15 to 20 knots north of Grange before those winds shift back to the southeast. This evening, looks like we'll have that similar sort of pattern there on the Saturday.
Terrific stuff, Jem. Perfect weather for the footy tomorrow, and then a bit of rain for the garden. Nice combo. Thanks for that.
No worries. Too easy. Thanks, mate.
All right, let's head to SOPOL. Senior Constable Matt Brown joins us.
Matt,
good morning, guys.
How are you, Matt? Good?
Good. How are you?
Good. Man's been arrested after a pursuit in the southern suburbs.
That's right, Dave. About 12:40am today, Pol Air officers saw a Subaru sedan speeding at Christie Downs. The car was seen speeding south on Dyson Road before travelling through O'Sullivan's Beach and Port Noarlunga. It was then seen driving north on Lovelock Drive, east on Goldsmith Drive, and then onto Beach Road towards the Southern Expressway. The Subaru travelled north on the expressway before exiting onto Marion Road. And road spikes were deployed near the Netley Police Station, which is nice and convenient for us. And the driver was arrested soon after when the vehicle came to a stop on Henley Beach Road at Torrensville after losing a front tyre. Now, a search of the car uncovered capsules believed to contain illicit drugs and a baseball bat. And the 19-year-old Morphettvale man was charged with numerous offences, including trafficking a controlled drug, carrying an offensive weapon, and dangerous driving to escape a police pursuit. And
doesn't sound like he's on his way to baseball practice, does it?
No. I think the World Series isn't held at the Glenelg Baseball Club this year, but it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe another debate. Matt, 3 teenagers have been arrested after breaking into a business at St Clair.
That's right. Just before 2:30am today, a witness saw 3 youths run inside the centre on Woodville Road, and patrols quickly attended and located the 3 youths close by, and 2 of them were arrested while the third ran off. But police dog Duke and his handler were called in and located the third suspect hiding in a bush. And the youths had stolen food and drinks from inside the centre, and a girl aged 15 from Black Forest and 2 boys aged 16 from Fulham and Findon were arrested and charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass. And the girl and one of the boys were bailed to appear in court at a later date, and another one didn't apply for bail and will appear in court today.
Matt, also, what a week it's been, just shocking on the roads. We had the 3 deaths over the weekend. There's still concerns, obviously huge concerns over the young boy from Marrickville High, also the cyclist in Darlington, and now another fatal crash yesterday afternoon, this time in the hills.
That's right, David. Very sad news. Just before 2pm yesterday, police were called to 9 Mile Road at Strathalbyn following reports a car had crashed into a tree. Now, the single occupant of the Nissan, a 74-year-old local woman, sadly died at the scene. And 9 Mile Road was closed for several hours while major crash investigators examined the scene, but of course has since reopened. The woman's death is the 37th life lost on SA roads this year, compared to 16 at the same time in 2022. So if you're heading off this weekend, be it a trip away, it might be your kid's sport or something like that, just make sure you drive safely.
Yeah.
That's what we all need to do at this time.
Absolutely, Matt, we do. Thank you for that, Matt.
Well, it's that time of the week on a Friday morning where your mind goes towards the footy on the weekend and the tips you haven't yet put in. For that, we've got Ryan Fitzgerald, thanks to Terrain Tamer Parabolic Leaf Springs for a comfortable ride in your four-wheel drive. TerrainTamer.com. Fitzy, good morning to you.
Sweet goodness, Pembo. Yeah, it was a shocker. And you know what? The worst thing for me is that I had to fly back from Adelaide to Sydney last Sunday, and I got at the airport. I landed at 1:10. The game started at 1 o'clock, Crows versus GWS, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go straight at the Giants Stadium and watch the last half in 35 and watch in 35-degree heat. Sweating. I was sweating more than Chappelle Corby at Denpasar Airport, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. And then we just couldn't get it out of the middle. It was so disappointing.
Mate. Well, you must have arrived at half-time with a spring in your step. I think at half-time, not that I'm a punter, but I looked at the footy app, Crows are paying $1.14 to win. Yeah. GW was paying like $4.80.
Oh, no.
And
there's some great signs there. The silver lining is that, I think, our young blokes were the ones that stepped up, like it was, the more experienced ones like your Rory Lairds and Jordan Dawson's, that they're going to come back. They'll always be consistent. They had a bad game, but it's really good to see your Rochellis and Saligos and Luke Pedler that really stepped up. So that's good signs for the Crows.
Some positivity ahead of the Richmond game. Hey, Fitzy, lots of debate this week about the role of or future of the bump in the AFL. Before we get your thoughts on that, do you remember the hardest time you were ever hit playing footy at any grade? Is there one that stands out?
Or at the Colonnades Tavern?
Yeah. Well, we used to catch the school bus to Colonnades, and it was Cardine College, Wirianda and Christie's Beach High used to meet and catch the 745 to Port Noarlunga. You can imagine the fights we had back then, Penbo. But
I'd put my money on the Christie's boys.
Yeah, no, actually, Cardine were quite tough as well, so it was really, the Christie's Beach High School boys, far out. Well, they had weapons. So, I did get knocked out a couple of times in juniors and woke up and didn't know where I was. That's the scary thing is, boys. I think we need to eradicate the bump altogether because, you know, there are some horrific stories now of guys who don't even know, well, they jump in their car and they don't even know where to drive to these days. So head needs to come first. This is where I get really upset, though. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Crows fan. Shane McAdam should get weeks. He should get weeks for that bump. I think it was intentional, and he braced himself for it. But where the inconsistency is that the two worst ones, I think, were McAdam and Cozzy Pickett's. And how can you give Cozzy Pickett 2, Shane McAdam 3, and then the other one, Buddy Franklin, actually, the guy had to come off with concussion. So you did do something to that guy's head, and he gets 1 week. I just don't understand. It's confusing.
Maybe it's because he's an ornament to the game and, you know, regarded as someone who gets people through the gate.
And you know what? People always say, don't talk about the Trent Cotchin one leading into the 2017 grand final. Oh, my God. If you go back and watch that now, after the weekend and the decisions that they made, that is 3 weeks straight away. And that was thrown out of the door, didn't even go to the tribunal. So I think there is an element of that, Penbo, that in certain situations they like to look after certain players.
Yeah, absolutely. Mate, we'll rip into the tips. Tonight we've got the Friday night blockbuster Brisbane v Melbourne.
Yeah, that is going to be a beauty, isn't it? Look, Brisbane have to bounce back, but I just can't see anyone beating Melbourne. They were 10-0 last year with the first 10 games, and I think it'll happen again. They are supreme. They had 4 of their best players out last week and still dominated. So I'm going to go Melbourne to beat the Lions.
Tomorrow at the G, what is undeniably the game of the round. Both these teams magnificent last week. Magpies v the Power.
Collingwood, they look unbelievable. I think I tip to you guys that they could win the premiership, and I stick by that. I'm going to go the Pies are going to win that one against Port Adelaide at the MCG.
Crows Tigers.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one because Tigers they're a bloody good side, a really good side. So I'm unfortunately I'm going to have to pick the Tigers here. I've got a tip with my head, and I think they'll knock off the Crows.
Dogs v the Saints.
Dogs will beat the Saints quite convincingly.
Freo North Melbourne in the west.
Yeah, that's over in the west, so Freo will win that one easy.
Swans Hawks.
That's another easy one. Swans will win that easy.
Bombers Suns.
Yeah, this will be a good game. The Bombers looked good last week, and Gold Coast were a bit disappointing. So in Melbourne at Marvel, I'm going to go the Bombers.
And then finally, again in the west, the Eagles and the Giants.
I can't see the Eagles winning a game if they're going to play like that every week. So I'm going to go the Giants to win that one.
Good on you, Fitzy. We'll do it all again next week, mate. Love your work.
Good on you, boys. Have a lovely weekend.
Ryan Fitzgerald, thanks to Terrain Tamer Parabolic Leaf Springs for a comfortable ride in your four-wheel drive. TerrainTamer.com.
I work long hours, but when I'm not working, I'm tinkering with my car. It's like my meditation, and that's why I love eBay. Because eBay is home to Australia's widest range of car parts, all at a great price. I got myself a new snorkel for my four-wheel drive the other day. Off-roading is my other meditation. The best bit though, if the part doesn't fit, eBay's got my back with their money-back guarantee. That means I can browse, buy, carefree with eBay's money-back guarantee.
Purchase a new vehicle in stock now from Adelaide BMW and receive a 5-year, 60,000-kilometre BMW service-inclusive basic package, 5-year manufacturer's warranty, plus selected models will receive a $5,000 trade-in bonus. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to drive away in a new BMW. Only from Adelaide BMW. Terms and conditions apply. Don't wait. Visit Adelaide BMW, 36 to 40 West Terrace, Adelaide. LMCT 105386.
Now, a lot can change in a generation, but the RSPCA wants you to know that South Australia's Animal Welfare Act mostly hasn't.
The RSPCA claim that it's shocking what's missing. Animals that aren't formally recognised as sentient, and often the RSPCA often can't legally do anything until animal cruelty has already happened when they say it's too late.
It's horrible knowing something terrible is about to happen, but you can't do anything. And this is something which RSPCA inspectors experience day after day.
But right now, they have the ear of the state government. There's an opportunity to update the Animal Welfare Act to reduce harm to animals. So if you'd like to help the RSPCA, give animals a voice before Sunday, March 26.
That's right. You can get involved together with the RSPCA. You can help change the law and help save animals from cruelty. Visit rspca.org.au to learn how you can help shift this legislation into the future.
At Specsavers, we understand how important it is to hear well. We also understand that right now, the last thing you need is to pay more than you should for hearing aids. That's why we're making some noise. Because you deserve to know what you'll pay straight away with upfront prices. And our everyday low prices on latest tech hearing aids doesn't mean you'll miss out on quality or professional advice. So for hearing care for all, not the few, should have gone to Specsavers.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 24 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Bretty.
Try Locomat robotic gait training technology for neurological issues at Physio Extra. Visit physioextra.com.
World Athletics has announced tougher rules on transgender athletes in female competition. Male to female transgender athletes who've gone through male puberty are being excluded from female competition. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe says the decision's been made after consultation with many stakeholders, including athletes.
The World Athletics Council has today taken the decisive action to protect the female category in our sport, and to do so by restricting the participation of transgender and DSD athletes.
World Athletics has also announced Russia's 7-year doping suspension's now over, but athletes remain banned due to the invasion of Ukraine. A woman has lost her life after her SUV slammed into a tree at Strathalbyn yesterday. It brings the road toll to 37 compared to 16 at this time a year ago. 3 teenagers have been arrested accused of breaking into a recreation centre at St Clair early this morning. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a witness called police after seeing them inside the centre on Woodville Road.
2 of them were arrested while the third ran off, but police dog Duke and his handler were called in and located the third suspect hiding in a bush. And the youths had stolen food and drinks from inside the centre, and a girl aged 15 from Black Forest and 2 boys aged 16 from Fulham and Findon were arrested and charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass.
Renters won't see any relief from rental prices and low vacancy rates for the next few years, according to a new report. The Reserve Bank says it's due to high demand coupled with low home construction and investment figures. Vacancy rates are sitting below 1% in all major capital cities. A prominent constitutional lawyer says the proposed voice referendum is far worse than he first thought. Australians will be asked to enshrine an Indigenous voice in the Constitution. The body would provide advice to Parliament, the government and public service on issues affecting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. But Professor Greg Craven says the Commonwealth may open itself up to legal challenges if the advice is ignored.
This is actually far worse than I had contemplated the worst position being. So this actually takes the problems that people have identified with the preceding drafting and multiplies them.
Flavoured vapes would be banned and warning labels made mandatory under a proposed crackdown to stamp out vaping among young people. Here's Chandra Llewellyn.
Australia's medicines regulator wants the nation to keep its tough prescription-only stance on vaping, but is releasing recommendations to tighten import rules and product standards. The Therapeutic Goods Administration wants to eliminate bootleg sales of colourful and flavoured single-use vapes. Research has shown easy access to those products is leading to a sharp increase in their use among children. The federal government is now considering the recommendations made.
Protests in France have entered their 9th day, with police forced to fire tear gas as residents rally. Hundreds of thousands of people are continuing to demonstrate against moves to raise the retirement age. Protesters have blockaded train stations, Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris and refineries. The boss of TikTok has given his first round of testimony before US Congress. Some lawmakers are calling for the social media platform to be banned, and there are fears the app is handing the personal data of users over to the Chinese government. Speaking in Washington, Congressman Frank Pallone says research shows the app's also dangerous to teenagers.
Teens are particularly vulnerable. Frequent online use of interactive media on digital devices is associated with increased levels of depression among middle and high school students. Research has found that TikTok's addictive algorithms recommend videos to teens that create and exacerbate feelings of emotional distress.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide has made a surprise call with defender Jordan Butts left out of tomorrow's clash against Richmond at home. Tyler Brown has also been left out of the side while Lockie Scholl comes in. The Crows will also have to bring someone in for Shane McAdam, who failed in his bid to overturn or downgrade his 3-match ban for a higher bump. Recovery has been a major theme for the Crows this week, who only had a 6-day break after scorching conditions against GWS. The Tigers, meantime, having a 9-day break. But defender Brodie Smith told Treaders and Timmy G it's not something they focus on.
Yeah, just got to dust yourself off. I think if you go in with that sort of mindset that, they've had 3 extra days and probably played a nice, cool night game, that probably starts to become a factor if you're thinking about it. So we'll just eliminate all of that and treat it like a normal week. And, yeah, as I said, full steam ahead from the first bounce.
Port Adelaide, meantime, will be without Trent McKenzie, who's suffered an ankle injury, while Francis Evans has also been left out. Chase Burgoyne comes into the side, while Travis Boak has been named as an emergency. And there was one game last night to kick off round 2, with Carlton recording its first win of the season, beating Geelong by 8 points. Well, it was slow going on the opening day of the Shield final between WA and Victoria at the Wacker, with the Bushrangers reaching 8 for 194 at stumps. Opener Ashley Chandra Singh finished not out after batting the entire day, but incredibly was only on 46, having faced a whopping 266 balls. One game in the NRL last night with the Parramatta Eels upsetting the Penrith Panthers 17-16 with a Golden Point victory. And Adam Scott is all square against Sam Burns in the second round of the World Match Play event in Texas as they play the 18th hole. But Scott has just put his tee shot into the penalty area and looks set to lose the match. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
At Lonsdale, got a minor smash on Aldershot Road near Sheriff's Road. In the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Busy at the moment. South Road at Mile End, got a lane out of action at the moment at Virginia. Old Port Wakefield Road near Gawler Road, speeds at 40 with cameras Ashwin Parade, Torrensville and Chandler's Hill Road at Happy Valley. The Cerberus Ceramics once-a-year stock day clearance is on now. Save 25% of the huge range of quality tiles and stone. Ends 4 p.m. Sunday. 44 Cavan Road, Dry Creek. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Partly cloudy, heading for 24. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 25. A shower or two on Sunday, 24. And showers on Monday, 22. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 7, creative answers to the meat trade this morning, thanks to Brighton City Meats. They're at 255 Brighton Road, Brighton. Very simple, and I'm sure not at all divisive, the question today. Where do we stick the nuclear waste?
Victoria.
Some people have suggested Victoria. Someone suggested up Vladimir Putin's bum. That was from Shannon. Thank you, Shannon. Still recovering from that one. 8223 You can text it on the Duttons text line as well. We love Duttons. 0480 1395. Let's jump into the news stories of the morning first, starting with one that started here on 5AA Breakfast yesterday.
How did you keep your old man comfortable, Teresa? Were you able to get like a pillow for him or anything like that?
No. So then that was the other thing. There wasn't any pillows and wasn't any blankets.
There's no pillows, no chairs, no pillows.
No blankets.
No, and no linen.
Yeah, well, it turns out Teresa wasn't the only one that had an issue. She became the face of what was a sea of texts and calls to 5AA Breakfast over the course of the morning, of people couldn't even enjoy the simple comfort of a pillow when going to a public hospital right now. Subsequent to our coverage yesterday, the state government has ordered an urgent pillow audit, which was a confusing message at times because they said they needed an audit, and then the health minister said, actually, we've got enough pillows. I'm going to speak with the heads of all the health networks to find out where the breakdown is. But in any case, that has come from the conversation yesterday. Then in Parliament, what followed was a no confidence motion against Health Minister Chris Picton that obviously in the lower house, the Labor have the numbers and they were able to defeat it. Notable because it was the first no confidence motion faced by the Malinowskis government since March 19 when they won the election last year.
It was weird because their messaging yesterday in the morning was there's enough pillows and then also we're going to have an audit to find out why people aren't getting them. So something's going wrong. You know what I reckon this is? I actually think it is actually a breakdown that results from, and back me up, folks, those of you, and we've got a lot of listeners who work in public health. I reckon what it is you imagine an emergency ward, 3 o'clock in the morning, and you've got someone who's come in who's got some sort of mental health episode, you've got a couple of people who've got some sort of meth-related drama going on, you've got people who've been in fights, you've got people who've got things like gastro. You know, Teresa yesterday painted a picture of people vomiting in bags. So in this system of triage, you've basically got like 50 people in a hospital at any given time, 100 people, 150 people, whatever it is, and you've got all these medical experts in real time trying to work out statistically who's likely to die first or who's likely to be in real strife first. You've got nurses running around, you've got orderlies, you've got the people on the front desk, to the extent that there are ever people on the front desk, because you go into a hospital and often you go, well, who do I talk to first? So in that environment, someone goes up to the counter, like Teresa did, and said, can I please get a pillow for my dad? And the poor bloody people who work there are like, oh, yeah, sorry, we haven't got any.
So it's a symptom not of a lack of pillows, but a lack of time.
And the total pressure that these people are under, I reckon that is more than likely going to be the explanation, where a pillow becomes so low down the order of priorities that wherever the pillows are kept, no one's restocking the cupboard that's got them, or maybe patients disappear with them.
Well, if you're a nurse or a doctor, do let us know.
It just feels like the little canary in a coal mine type thing.
Yeah.
Symbolises a bigger problem, which is humans doing the best they can in a system that's under siege.
8223 0000 or 0448 08 1395 on the Duttons text line. You've just heard in 5AA News with Kendall Bredig, the World Athletics President, has held a press conference to announce new rules on transgender and women athletes.
Has agreed to exclude male to female transgender athletes who have been through male puberty from female world ranking competitions from March the 31st this year.
So they've done away with the whole testosterone level thing. Now, if you were at birth male and you went through puberty, you're just out. You can't compete as a woman in world athletics.
Does that make it tougher for transgender people to compete?
It does. So that would exclude some people that have been competing because they've been on testosterone blockers or whatnot. So now they've just made an overall rule. The saddest part of this whole discussion is the degree to which female athletic voices have been totally silenced. There's a whole heap of women who, various times we've had swimmers come out and say things and then they've been sort of browbeaten into silence. And others too, women who are the key and most important stakeholder in the future of women's sport, who are too afraid to have an opinion. Well,
they get howled down.
Exactly right. And I think there's just something wrong with how we have
I was thinking the other day on International Women's Day, like you can see a point where trans activists get upset about why is it just Women's Day? Why I think there's a sort of male party crashing element, and I know I'm probably being politically incorrect describing ex-men who've become women as historically male, but you know, like that woman in Vanuatu who's devoted her entire life to weightlifting. And suddenly that ex-bloke from New Zealand rocks up and says, hi, my name's Beryl or whatever, and I'm going to have a crack at this as a lady.
Well, no more in the world of athletics. They're not saying forever, they're just saying for now. The other thing they're saying, not forever but for now, is that Russia and Belarus are still excluded from competition for the foreseeable future due to Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Fair enough, you reap what you sow.
Over in the US, this has been fascinating. So TikTok, we've been following this because this feels like peering into the future for Australia. We're going to have this debate and discussion. It's already starting, but we're going to get to the stage it's in the US very, very quickly here in Australia. 150 million users in the United States. And right now, US lawmakers, in fact, even as we speak, are questioning the CEO of TikTok is part of this debate about whether it should be banned or not. The CEO is a guy called Xu Zichu from Singapore. He's actually Singaporean. Young guy, 40 years of age. He looks like the quintessential face of a modern tech startup company. He's gentle, well-spoken, not neatly presented. Well, he was fresh meat for a congressional committee, I can tell you. Have a listen to a little bit of this.
How is the U.S. data used to promote certain content back in the United States market, for instance?
I'm sorry?
So, what you'll have U.S. data feed the. All right. How can you discuss when you discuss where the data goes and how it's used by the company? How and at what points of data transfer does the U.S. data feed the PRC developed algorithm used by TikTok? How would the data that you're talking about?
TikTok is not available in mainland China.
The PRC developed algorithm used by TikTok. How does U.S. data get fed by that?
The algorithm that leads to the U.S. app is in the Oracle Cloud infrastructure and is trained by U.S. and global data. Again, TikTok is not available in mainland China.
People lined up, congressmen on both sides, to go to town. I can't see any way that doesn't result in a ban or at least a sale of significant parts of TikTok to the US. And when that happens, I imagine policymakers in Australia will follow suit fairly quickly.
It's going to affect so many people. It's going to affect so many young people because TikTok is the thing. Like my teenage kids spend ages looking at it, and I must admit I've got mates who do it, and sometimes
really
they've sent me videos that some of them are actually quite entertaining. It's a weird thing though. Like I don't understand. Like at some point, is it going to turn into some weapon of war though in the hands of the Chinese? Is that what the Yanks seem to be saying, that they'll know? Like what possible benefit is there for China from knowing where I am when I'm doing a TikTok video?
Data harvesting's part of it, but also if it's the way a whole generation of people get information, you can start tweaking the algorithm to make sure they get news items that might be sympathetic to China.
So instead of getting the FIVEAA feed, you'll get China Today.
I guarantee you, if
Good Morning Beijing.
If ratings in the future come down to the PRC's algorithm in TikTok, we will be off the air within about 19 seconds.
Imagine the size of your reach if you're in Beijing. That'd be good. Salespeople would like that. How many listeners you got? Oh, about 1 billion. More than Gerard Whateley.
17 minutes after 7. We're going to talk sport. Timmy G's coming up in just a moment. Let's check traffic.
Thanks, Will. At Glandor, look out for urgent sewer works this morning. It's on Anzac Highway just past South Road as you're heading outbound. Belair burst water main on Main Road in Russell Street, speed down at 25. Lonsdale got a minor smash there on Aldershot Road near Sheriff's Road and in the Parklands. Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Got a camera to Airport Road at Brooklyn Park. Bunnings has amazing value to create the ultimate campsite this Easter long weekend. Shop a wide range of camp chairs, gazebos and portable stoves online or at your local Bunnings. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Frankly, what the state government has done here is what the federal government should do with the voice. Should legislate it and not worry about the referendum. Just make it law if it's that important. Give it a go. I'm all for it. Legislate it.
Weekday mornings from 9.
In the Constitution, there should be a clause recognising Indigenous residents on this land for the last 60,000 years.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
It's your last chance to be an early bird. Get your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery by midnight tonight, and you could be $250,000 richer. Just imagine what you could do with that money. Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the stunning Scott Salisbury home in Henley Beach. To see full lottery details and get your tickets, visit homelottery.com.au by midnight tonight. Licence M14311.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen is now receiving truckloads of new Volkswagens. Yes, they're coming. And they're available at amazing prices. Remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Don't dilly-dally, dawdle or delay. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Introducing Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses offering competitive weekly repayments, including the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Available now on the all-new Nissan X-Trail ST. Plan confidently for the road ahead with Nissan Future Value Business Plus. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Now, this weekend will be a very special one for South Australia, as we're on the cusp of becoming the first state to have a First Nations voice to Parliament.
The state government are saying that this is a nation-leading opportunity for South Australia. They're saying it will demonstrate to the rest of the country the importance of giving First Nations people a say in laws and policies that affect their lives.
And that's why this won't just be an historic moment for First Nations people, but for all South Australians.
So on Sunday, there's a parliamentary sitting, and when the voice is set to become law in South Australia, and the state government are inviting people to go along. 11 a.m. this Sunday, 26th of March, on the steps of Parliament House.
It's back! The Piccadilly North Adelaide is back! Stage 1 of renovations are done with beautifully restored Art Deco features, new lifts and open entertaining areas, making it accessible for everyone. Come in and enjoy something from our menu and a drink before a movie or a homemade choc top. Bring your friends and family and see this iconic South Australian-owned cinema in all its beauty. The Piccadilly North Adelaide, 181 O'Connell Street. Visit thepiccadilly.au.
Feeling the burn? Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys. Cheapest Chips. Stock up for Easter with Red Tulip hunting eggs or carnival rabbits, 2 for $10. Grab 2-litre True Blue soft drinks, 3 for $5. Lynx or Rexona deodorants, 2 for $7.50. And 500ml Schwarzkopf Biotech shampoo or conditioner, sizzling, $4.99. Check out this week's catalogue for more Hot Buys in-store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys now.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Ginnivan.
Tim Ginnivan on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G!
22 minutes after 7. How fired up are you, Timmy, on the cusp of round 2 action on the eve of the game of the round? Port Adelaide up and about. Can you keep a lid on it?
I think it's going to be a cracking game, no doubt about that. It was a good game last night, Carlton-Geelong. For all the Blues fans, they finally got a W in their column. But, yeah, the Port Adelaide and Collingwood game will be an absolute cracker, no doubt about that. Interestingly, both clubs working together to get as many people from Adelaide to Melbourne and to see the game. So nothing like a bit of collaboration instead of the perhaps what we saw under different regime.
Well, I was going to say, Tim, the one sort of fly in the ointment historically in the Port and Collingwood relationship has probably been a bloke by the name of Eddie, because Jeff Brown, he's a very reasonable bloke. He's given a bit of ground on the prison bars issue, hasn't he?
Yeah, no, look, and Craig Kelly as well, who's now CEO. Of course, Craig started his career at the Norwood Footy Club and then went over and played with Collingwood in their premiership in 1990. So, yeah, those two guys are very open to discussions. And I think it's like anything. Get around a table, have some good discussion and just work it out. And that's what's happened so far. And I was just saying yesterday, the only thing I feel like is like an AFL player over 30 where they just keep giving me a 1-year contract. I want to get a bit more. I want a bit more of a long-term deal so I can feel secure. So we'll take the 1 year at the moment and just see how that goes. But yeah, I think the game itself is the exciting thing. AFL 360 had both coaches on to discuss it, and it's just the excitement in which both played on the weekend. You see the way they want to take the game on, go fast, through the middle. If that happens again at the MCG, we're going to see a lightning quick game.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? After 1 week, because you were in a world of despair about Port after the pre-season, weren't you, Tim? You should have been more worried about what was going on at Westlakes and Alberton, the way things have started. It's a perfect start for Port.
Well, there's an old term called foxing, and I think that they were foxing.
Yeah.
It's the only way I can describe it, because what we saw at Adelaide Oval was not what we saw in Perth. So it was phenomenal, a phenomenal difference in the way they went about it. But it was almost the excitement of the young kids that were in the middle, and that was the thing, the enthusiasm, the breakneck speed of Connor Rosie going sideways, then the power out of Horn Francis, then you had Butters flying, putting his body on the line, and then we had the luxury of having a Brownlow medalist check in as well. So I was really excited about that young midfield.
Hey, Tim, it was a great performance, but was it so great that you wouldn't bring Travis Boak back into the side?
You know what the irony of that is? I don't think he's ever been a sub in his life.
Yeah.
But I was, yesterday, stopped at an OTR, went in to get a Subway, and then walks Travis Boak. So it was another omen.
It was an omen. It's a sign. Was he wearing a green vest?
That should have given away. I don't know. I just thought he was working on the roads. Hey, boys, what about the macadam trial? I just got to say, Adelaide did everything. I thought, I know what they tried. I reckon it was almost a tactic the first time they went up. I reckon they thought, right, we'll go in and try and get everything wiped, and if we don't get that, we'll come back. And they come back, and I thought they presented really well. But I reckon I've seen women accused of being witches in the 14th century with more chance of getting off, because it was just, it was never going to happen. They were never going to back down on this. So it's a disappointing result. It's a frustrating result, because it should have been stopped at the MRO level, where either all three were elevated to the tribunal, or you give 2-2-2, and it didn't happen. So very disappointing result, I think. But that sort of, I think it helps selection for Crows, because it means they can bring Butts back into that side. I was a bit concerned they're a bit short down back. I think Butts will come back into the lineup, and that'll just give them a bit more balance. I think they'll have a win against the Tigers. And I know some people are probably thinking, Timmy, what's wrong with you? Adelaide played some really good football and some really good movement. And talking to Brodie Smith yesterday, sometimes a 9-day break, you seem like you're waiting around forever to play a game. Whereas 6 days, you've got no time. You've got to get straight back on that horse. And if they play, and I'll tell you, it's like anything. You saw the Port Adelaide crowd lift when they had the home crowd behind them. The Crows are going to have that this week. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably enough. And Isaac Rankin, they reckon, he can't sleep. He's that excited. So look out. He'll kick 5-2 instead of 2-5.
That'd be nice. You got any other predictions for us, Timmy?
Yeah. I reckon this Saturday at Adelaide Oval, Trent Conchin will lay a similar bump to Shane McAdam, and as a consequence, will win an all-expenses-paid holiday to Hawaii and get 3 Brownlow votes.
I think you might be right.
It's happened before with old Trent.
Good on you, Timmy.
All right, hooroo.
Beautiful, Jim.
Speaking about report cards with distinctions, here's Geneva.
Tim Geneva on 5AA Breakfast.
Timmy G.
5AA News is coming up. Orazio Fantasia joins us in the studio right after 5AA News.
We have got a whole pile of texts from people who work in the health system. We'll get to them after the 7:30 news, shedding more light on what we now call Pillowgate.
G'day, it's Rory Sloan for Jarvis Toyota. The new and improved Hilux Rogue is wider, taller and tougher. The 2.8-litre turbo diesel engine pumps out 150 kilowatts of effortless power, enough to cruise through the work week and power into the weekend. Hilux Rogue is loaded with enhancements for on- and off-road performance. Check out the new Hilux Rogue for yourself today at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 21 years of great deals.
Help potential treatments take flight. This is your chance to make a difference to the future of healthcare while getting paid for your time. Participate in the CMAX trial for a potential treatment of stroke. Sign up for CO3222 on cmax.com.au or call our team on 1800 150 433. That's 1800 150 433.
Now, true early birds, they'll already be well across this kind of thing, but you still have, that is you, non-early birds, still have a few hours to sneak in for your chance an early bird in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Yep, the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is about to give 4 lucky ticket holders $250,000 each just for buying tickets before midnight tonight.
Time is ticking. Make sure you've got your home lottery tickets by midnight tonight and your bank balance could be a lot bigger.
Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the luxurious $3.5 million grand prize in Henley Beach. You'll feel like every day's a holiday.
Don't miss your chance to share in $1 million of early bird prizes. Get your tickets before midnight at homelottery.com.au.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to FIVEAA Facebook or search FIVEAA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy and 24 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
A man's been arrested after a pursuit overnight. It began in Christie Downs with the car followed to Marion Road at Netley where road spikes were deployed. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the car came to a stop on Henley Beach Road at Torrensville when it lost a tyre.
A search of the car uncovered capsules believed to contain illicit drugs and a baseball bat. And the 19-year-old Morphettvale man was charged with numerous offences, including trafficking a controlled drug, carrying an offensive weapon and dangerous driving to escape a police pursuit.
3 teenagers have been caught after breaking into a recreation centre at St Clair early this morning. The trio stole food and drinks from inside the centre on Woodville Road. A girl aged 15 and 2 boys aged 16 have been charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass. The campaigns for and against the Indigenous voice to Parliament are ramping up. Now key details have been released. The body would provide advice on issues affecting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Voters will be asked whether they want to enshrine the voice in the Constitution at a referendum later this year. Yes Alliance Director Dean Parkin's confident the Australian people will back the change.
The one thing everybody knows is that we cannot just keep doing the same things that we've done in the past. And that's why this is different. We're actually saying to the people, give this voice your mandate. Tell everybody that this is important and it must exist.
Transgender women will be excluded from female events at international athletics meets. The World Athletics ruling applies to athletes who transitioned after male puberty. Levels of permitted plasma testosterone for athletes with differences in sex development are also being reduced by half. Fake voicemails using audio that sounds like your son or daughter may be the new frontier for scammers. Fraudsters are using artificial intelligence known as deepfake technology to create phony video or audio. Similar to the text messages, they say your child's run out of money and needs help. The recordings are being used to trick people into thinking their children are calling. TikTok's chief executive has told a US congressional hearing national security concerns over the popular app are hypothetical. Here's Jonathan Kersley.
Chachu was grilled by congressmen and women for more than 4 hours, largely relating to concerns around the ownership of TikTok. Its parent company, ByteDance, is based in China. Intelligence officials and Western governments have warned data could be handed over to Beijing under Chinese law, that the app could be used for propaganda and misinformation. The hearing comes amid growing calls for the app to be banned here in the United States. Chachu said it should not be, and that US data would be kept in America under the protection of US law.
And an asteroid has been named after Melbourne. The Laneways asteroid, also known as PJ40, orbits the Sun between Mars and Jupiter. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Geelong remains winless in its premiership defence after going down by 8 points to Carlton last night. Cat star Jeremy Cameron booted 6 goals, but it wasn't enough as they were taken down by the Blues, who were inspired by Charlie Curnow, who booted 5. Meantime, Adelaide's Shane McCann will miss 3 matches after failing to have his ban for a high bump on Greater Western Sydney's Jacob Ware overturned. Adelaide's legal team argued McAdam's sanction was an error in law, with a grading that was manifestly excessive, but the appeals board disagreed. To the NRL now, and the Parramatta Eels have had a thrilling win to kickstart round 4 of the NRL, edging out the reigning premiers, the Penrith Panthers, with a golden point.
Here we go,
Yeah, great day indeed, that audio, thanks to Fox. The Panthers winning that match 17-16. In some golf now, Adam Scott has gone down to Scott Burns on the second day of the World Match Play event in Texas. The match was all square heading down 18, but Scott found trouble off the tee, meaning Burns only had to two-putt to take the point.
Yeah, beautiful touch there.
And that'll do it. Adam Scott concedes. Sam Burns is a winner for the second day in a row.
Yeah, that audio, thanks to Fox again, that was Sam Burns who won that match. And fellow Aussie Jason Day, though, is 1 up against Victor Perez. That's through 14 holes, while Minwoo Lee, Cam Davis and Lucas Herbert are all 1 down in their matches. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
Good morning. At Glandore, got urgent sewer works happening at the moment. It's on Anzac Highway, just past South Road as you're heading outbound. In the Park Lanes this morning, Wakefield Road is currently closed. It'll be that way till Sunday night between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. At Blair, burst water main road near Russell Street, speeds out at 25. Busy at the moment, South Road at Mile End with the Camera Sheriff's Road at Ranella. Hungry? Head to a Porto for the Bondi Burger Box, double Bondi Burger, 2 crispy chicken strips, snack chips, drink and dipping sauce, just $16.95 at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Partly cloudy, heading for 24. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, 25. A shower or two Sunday, 24. And showers on Monday, 22. At the moment, 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Orazio Fantasia, intercepted almost by Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia, Orazio Fantasia, Orazio Fantasia, Orazio.
Ho, 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 it's magic.
Thanks to Foodland Supermarkets, Orazio Fantasia joins us in the 5AA Breakfast studio after what I think we could say by way of understatement, pretty reasonable week for Port Adelaide.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it? It wasn't bad.
What a comeback game for you, though, mate. How long was it since you played AFL?
I hadn't played since the prelim. So
oh, wow.
Many months was that? Yeah, it was a fair while. So it was nice to get back in front of my family again. And there was 35,000 Port fans, I think. That's all we heard after sort of half-time.
Oh, the atmosphere, that second half, it was probably one of those things at half-time. Actually, tell us about half-time. Yeah. Ollie said something about it the other day on another radio station, but it sounded like quite the bake from Ken at half-time.
Yeah, well, it wasn't angry with us. We probably didn't finish our work, and that's what we were frustrated with. We had the game how we wanted to, we were playing how we wanted to, but we just kept missing. So, we were down by a little bit, but basically our message was, if we keep playing this way and we finish our work, we feel like we'll run over the top of them. Which that third quarter is basically what happened.
Now, was he that measured when he delivered that message?
I don't think he was that measured, but yeah, that's okay. It
and
worked.
Look, I got to say, I got sort of dating back to the 1970s, still in therapy, thinking about people like Bomber Clifford, D. Granger, having gone to Alberton.
Yep.
When Port fans are in sync with their side, there's no more menacing a force in football, I don't think, as an opposing team. How big a role did the Port faithful play in that second half too at a home game?
Massive. I think every team that plays at home would say it's an advantage because when you get on a bit of a roll, like we kicked those 4 or 5 goals, and it was just louder and louder and louder. And as an opposition, like I mentioned to you off air before, like I've never heard Brisbane so quiet. I've played them probably 5 or 6 times, and that was the quietest they've ever been. So you just it deflates you a little bit, which is good for us.
Well, it was intimidating because they seemed powerless to resist what was happening to them in that third quarter. And a big part of it was a bloke who's had big raps and delivered in a way that I don't think anyone was going to predict. Jason Horne-Francis. From your vantage point, forward 50, you're watching him come out of the middle. What were your impressions of his performance?
Oh, he was amazing, and I think, he puts a lot of pressure on himself. He's probably his own worst enemy. He wants to be the best player, and he's said it to everyone, and he says it to us, and we want him to be the best player as well. But he's so young. Kenny said it after. He's only 19 years old. Like, he's fending blokes off and kicking goals from 50, and he can do everything. He's courageous and he's strong, and he reminds me of a young Nathan Buckley.
Yeah, I had a lot of Port fans drew that comparison.
Yeah, so he's an exciting player, really exciting. I love leading up to him because he just loves lowering his eyes. So, you know, he always hits that little kick. So we've got a little connection going at the moment.
Did you watch the Collingwood game last Friday, Orazio?
I did, yep.
That was a stunning game of football, wasn't it?
Yeah, both teams were flying, and we did mention that game in our sort of review of of Collingwood this week and how they played, and they sort of want to play that transition game. You know, they want it to be turnover. They did it last year and won, I don't know, I think it was 11 games by under a goal. So they want it to be that sort of high flowing and free scoring sort of game.
It's really set it up for tomorrow. Like, so clearly this is going to be the match of the round, you'd think. And the way both Port and the Pies played last weekend, there's a sort of similarity to it. Like, there was an unpredictability about it, I reckon.
I think it's the ball movement from both of us, that we both like to move the ball fast and get it in deep. So, yeah, it'll be interesting.
So how you going physically? You all good?
Yeah, good. I think I was mentioning earlier, again, off air, that we sort of had the luxury a little bit at three-quarter time where Kenny just said, I'm just going to take you out of the game at this time. You haven't played for a long time, and it'll just give you a good opportunity to manage the body and get through and rest up for next week.
I was asking you the question before whether that was pre-arranged. So it wasn't pre-arranged. It sounds like because of how far up you guys were at that point in time, it was a luxury you could just about take.
Yeah, definitely. And we had Frankie there who plays a similar role, that half forward role, and first game, so we've got to get him on. And I love Frankie, so it was definitely, get him on, for sure.
Nick Dacre runs around like an unregistered dog sometimes for Collingwood in the half-back line. You ever done a defensive job?
I haven't. I definitely haven't. And I'm not sure I'm the bloke to do it either. We'll both sort of just go this way.
Yeah, run your opposite directions.
If that happens. But he's such a good player. They want him to
get the
have
ball in his hand.
Yeah,
Did you see roaming Brian last Friday when he interviewed Peter Dacre?
Oh, yes, I did see that. That was very good. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh,
You've got to get the
dropped
video.
the F-bomb.
Oh, did he?
Peter Dacre dropped the F-bomb.
Both of his boys are playing good footy these days.
Oh, yeah. It was actually
too.
really, really good video. And you'd know, mate, with coming from a big footy family, like the pride of his father was very infectious. Did you ever meet BT? Because he sort of made you famous with the call.
Yeah, he'd come through the rooms a fair bit, but
he'd always hunt you out.
A little bit. And then a couple of times he'd give me the microphone and say, like, you go interview someone. This is not my job. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, he made me interview Walla one game and I absolutely messed it up. Like, it was just, it was terrible.
It is really clever television, though. Like, I reckon the one last Friday and I went for about half an hour.
Yeah, he's just roaming around. He loves it. Yeah,
Orazio.
What did you make from across town on the whole bump debate this week?
Yeah, I think everyone's probably said enough of it, haven't they? Like, it's probably dead, and especially if you're leaving the ball behind and going to get someone high, I think that's definitely out of the game.
Does Ken give any instruction on that front?
Not
or
really.
Leaves it up to you in the moment
to
make a choice?
Yeah, it's all.
Have you ever copped a massive hit like that?
I haven't, no.
You're too shifty.
Get out the way. I don't want that. Yeah.
You look like a boxer there, mate.
Yeah, just sort of. No.
Would you be about welterweight?
Oh, super lightweight, whatever under that. Sort of the 50 kilo class, that's where I'm at.
You got to watch the small guys, though.
Correct. Fast hands.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
So MCG tomorrow, you can hear the game called here on 5AA. It is undoubtedly match of the round. I think everyone is looking forward to it. You've kicked a few goals in the MCG in front of pretty big crowds over the course of your lifetime. Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I actually used to love playing against Collingwood. Funny you say that. So,
it was a pretty regular big game that you guys play against each other for your former club.
Yeah, a few goals against them. So it'd be nice to
a couple of good days.
do that again.
Absolutely.
All the best luck, mate.
Tune in tomorrow and see Orazio. You're going to go the distance tomorrow, aren't you? Speaking of boxing analogies.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly right.
All 4 rounds.
Good.
Beautiful.
Good man. Thanks to Foodland Supermarkets, Orazio Fantasia. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Thanks, Will. Glandor got urgent civil works on Anzac Highway just past South Road. That's as you're heading outbound. Below, look out for a burst water main this morning. That's Main Road near Russell Street. Speed down to 25. Glenelg East got a smash Brighton Road. That's between Anzac Highway and Jetty Road. It's always busy there, so take it easy. And in the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace. That's for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Freedom's Unmissable Homewares event is on. Right now, get up to 40% off all homewares, plus sign up to My Freedom to get a further 10% off. Only at Freedom. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hey, Dad. The posties are back.
Oh, yeah? How many this time?
1, 2, 3. About 8. They're staring at our driveway. Should I let the dog out?
Nah, let them look a little longer.
Now they're taking selfies with it.
Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground all year round.
And me? I like Barbies. There's a lot of them around, but when you line them up together, the Weber wins hands down. Barnsey here from Barbecue Adelaide Weber stores. For everything barbecue related this footy season, come see me at my Barbecue Adelaide Weber stores, Jeb's Cross and Mile End. So, if you love a barbie and you want to learn some more, come see me at Jeb's Cross or my Mile End Weber store and prepare to get lit.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive, with dedicated yards including SA's best range of commercials loaded and ready to go, including SA's only dedicated small car and SUV centre, and SA's only large SUV and 4x4 centre suited for any lifestyle. Steinborner still also has the best range of Commodores, from ZBs to the collectibles. View all late model used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
We've got Shane from Drummond Golf with us now. Shane, you've made it so easy to improve your game. You've got a room full of indoor simulators.
We think all golfers out there will love our Big Swing Golf indoor simulators at Drummond Golf Mile End. We have a room full of simulators to play golf and other sports like soccer, baseball, basketball, and even football with your mates, rain, hail or shine. And guess what? We're fully air-conned.
Oh, look, it's great fun too, but more importantly, these simulators will help my game. Well, they will, won't they, Shane?
You're dead right, mate. They're a great training tool. Thanks to the overhead Iron 3 camera that shows video of your club head angle, your club head speed, and even the spin rate.
Jump online now and take a look at bigswinggolf.com.au, then call your mates and head to Drummond Golf Mile End.
Some builders think a sloping block has limitations. When Beechwood Homes look at a sloping block, they think, the possibilities. Beechwood Homes know how to make the most of a sloping block. In fact, they specialise in them. Beechwood will design a home that works with the land you have, taking full advantage of every square metre. So if you're looking at a sloping block, go for it. Beechwood has your back. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
13 to 8, we'll get to some Meat Tray Friday calls in a moment, thanks to Brighton City Meats. They specialise in locally sourced grass-fed beef. 255 Brighton Road at Brighton. We're asking you where you'd store the nuclear waste. Pretty simple question. Make it a lot easier for our policymakers if we solve it by 9 o'clock this morning and give away the meat tray in the process. Lots of texts too on the Dutton's text line regarding Pillowgate.
As we said, we've got a lot of people who work in public health listening to our show. We thank all of them for being listeners. One here from an anonymous SA health nurse. It isn't that we don't want to give patients pillows. It's a case that we don't have them to give. They may order pillows, but they end up following the patients through the system, leaving the ED departments and ending up on wards. The wards store pillows, and some patients have up to 4 pillows for comfort, while others are chucked out as they become contaminated. We feel bad that we can't offer our patients the basic comforts. We do try to use other forms like blankets, for example, pillows rather, blankets folded as pillows. Our health system is broken, staff are struggling under pressure, and our government is not listening. Thank you for that. One here, Sarah. Hi, Will and Dave. I've worked in both public and private in my 40 years nursing. We've always found it hard to find enough pillows. When a private hospital opened 20 years ago, we ordered 3 pillows for each bed. And within a year, they were hard to find when we needed, so we ordered more. They're like socks in the wash. And another good one here from Vanessa in Glengarry. My experience a few weeks ago at Flinders ED following an anaphylactic reaction. The ambos were brilliant. I went straight through to ED, no wait. But after 2 shots of adrenaline, I was in ED most of the day for monitoring to see if I reacted after the adrenaline wore off. I was moved to 2 different areas in the emergency department and was not able to get a pillow and instead had to use a folded blanket. In the monitoring area of the ED, one lovely nurse pounced on a pillow once a patient left as it was plastic wrapped and had been covered in antiseptic, and gave it to me about 5 hours into my stay. The person in the bay next to me was also waiting for a pillow.
Well, I mean, it's not... If nurses are running around going, I need to seize that pillow from that person when they leave, there's widespread acknowledgement there's a problem, isn't there?
I would have thought so.
That's an extraordinary text. Thank you to Vanessa from Glengarry. Orazio Fantasia a moment ago mentioned a rather blue exchange between the Macedonian Marvel, Peter Dacos, and BT post-game last week.
How electric. Oh, what about your boys? Oh, no, it was good. They were part of the win. That's the main thing.
Yeah, he was, as you said, and as BT said, pretty excited about it. Ian in Modbury has an idea for where to store nuclear waste. Morning, Ian. Where is it?
Yeah, g'day, boys. I reckon the River Murray. If you remember a few years back, they had a South Australian logo showing the map of South Australia. It was supposedly to show the way in, but I always thought it showed the way out. And it's just what the rest of Australia, particularly the eastern states, think of us. But I won't say A-H over the air. Thank you.
Good on you, Ian. Thank you. I reckon, actually, if you put this question to some people, probably Nationals MPs in New South Wales and Queensland, they may suggest the Murray too, and would just find its way down here eventually anyway.
Just regarded as a giant sort of cotton farm irrigation source.
Scott and Glenunga, good morning.
Good morning, boys. How are we going?
Good, thanks, Scott.
That's good. You know how Melbourne marketed itself as the sporting capital of Australia?
Oh, yeah.
And I just want to confess, this is not our Victoria Park, because Lucy wasn't aware that Melbourne had one. So I think we should store... Melbourne should become the nuclear waste capital of Australia, and it should be stored at Victoria Park, Collingwood's old home ground.
Well, there were a lot of people getting around with 2 heads at Victoria Park back in the day. Might explain a bit. Maybe it has already been used for nuclear waste storage, given the some of the appearances of the fans there.
Thank you, Scott. 8223 for the meat tray. You can text us as well on the Dutton's text line. 3 dealerships, 10 franchise in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. Dutton's easy to do business with. Our Aben correspondent, Dave's called in. Morning, Dave.
Yeah, good morning, boys. Surely in the true Australian tradition, you just chuck it in the shed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think that's what we have been doing. Thank you, Dave. Why not?
I've got to tidy up the shed. I've had that plutonium out there for so long.
It'll disappear that way. You'll never see it again.
Wonder what the half-life is of stuff in the shed.
Oh, I think never buy. There'll be archaeologists thousands of years in the future that'll find stuff.
I like this one. Someone suggests the Adelaide City Council chambers could be a good spot for it.
It'd be great to get some use out of them.
Yeah, it's one idea. And one here from Lynn, in a serious note. She's saying that SA Health have outsourced a lot of their services for things like pillows and that to companies like Spotless. We might ask the Minister about that. He's coming on after 8:30, Chris Picton. The embattled Health Minister.
Exactly right. He'll be on after 8:40 today. We're going to flash back with Michael Smith from 7 News as well. If you're on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, following along all the action this morning, remember you can participate just by leaving a comment. We'll get it here in the studio. Time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight Distribution Warehousing and local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 1364.
Yes, good morning. Well, last week we heard the Channel 7's football program, The Front Bar, with Sam Pang, Andy Maher, and of course Mick Malloy is coming to Adelaide for the Gather Round, and people can buy tickets and be in the audience. Mick Malloy made a pretty good joke about it. He said, I can't wait to load the boot with fruit and come over to South Australia, which is funny. It's a dig at our strict fruit fly quarantine laws, and he's not really going to bring fruit with him. You can easily tell because it's a joke. But Frank Pangello, MLC, got all upset and brought it up in Parliament that Mick Malloy making that sort of irresponsible joke might tempt people to load their boots with fruit and veg and cause a biosecurity nightmare. You're a great guy, Frank, but you've been in Parliament too long. Time to leave and get your sense of humour back.
I made a small joke which didn't please Frank Pangello. but I didn't see. He's a small drama queen. Oh, oh no. I started to think politicians might all be stupid if they're made really mean by a comedy routine. I am Mick Malloy, a funny and fat Victorian boy, and I've tried to conform and weathered some storms. Just ask Nicole Corns. So you'll all gather round, all watching me be real funny. It'll be such a hoot, especially with smuggled fruit. Oh yes, with a boot full of fruit.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
Frank Pangello's normally quite a funny bloke, I reckon, but he lost his humour over that one. I couldn't see the issue.
I actually think it was one of those stories where Frank looked worse because it was in print, his quotes, because I think he was pretty tongue-in-cheek about it.
Yeah, yeah. If you actually heard him delivering the speech in Parliament.
There's a problem with the culture of politics too, where so much of your life and every morning you wake up, especially if you're in a minor party or independent, is trying to get media hits. You want to, how do I get on the radio? How do I get on the TV? How do I be seen to be doing things? And if you can attach yourself to a celebrity saying something, you generally get a run. So I suspect it was just an opportunity too good to miss for Frank Pangello, irrespective of how it made him look.
A couple of great texts about today's Meat Tray Friday topic. Where would you store the nuclear waste? One says store the nuclear waste in the pillow cupboard at the QEH because it will never be found in there. And Scott from Modbury says, morning, boys. Why don't we just store it where Lydia Thorpe keeps her common sense and judgment? Pretty sure it'll be gone forever, never be found again.
We're going to play Lydia Thorpe's brush with the AFP and anti-transgender protesters that
Apparently
took place in the
Albo-
Lords of Canberra yesterday. We'll play that after 8 o'clock.
Apparently Albo wanted to do what the AFP did to Lydia Thorpe to Don Farrell when he was talking about energy prices.
He really should have. Would have played out much better for him.
Just crash tackled Don to the ground.
Someone needed to. 2 minutes to 8. 5AA News is coming up. Breaking out shortly thereafter.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
The next evolution in Samsung Galaxy smartphones has finally landed, introducing the Samsung Galaxy S23. We're seeing greater advancements in smartphone cameras. Who doesn't want professional-looking shots? And the S23 is stunning. 50 megapixel brings attention-grabbing epic shots, and nightography lets you capture an epic shot even at night. The Samsung Galaxy S23 screen is dynamic too. An epic bright and adaptive display even outdoors, so you can enjoy it all no matter how bright it gets. Get the new Samsung Galaxy S23 128GB 5G for $0 upfront when you connect to a new Optus $69 a month SIM-only plan for 24 months. Ends March 29th. Minimum cost $1,656, not available with other offers. In-store only. Cancellation fees. Terms and conditions apply.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. People buy a solar system to save money and do the right thing by the environment. So why would you buy a battery? Well, people buy a battery because they want independence from the grid. They don't want to be inconvenienced in the event of a blackout, and of course, protect themselves from future power rises. Now, electricity is going up, so whatever your needs are regarding solar and battery storage, you can rely on NRG Solar for the right solution. Visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Whether you're heading off or staying home this Easter, Jaycar has some cracking deals for you. Save up to 40% off Brass Monkey portable fridge freezers, 20% off campsite power, and up to 50% off dash cams and reversing cameras. Protect your home with up to 20% off CCTV kits and 30% off cameras. And Bluetooth speakers, portable projectors and antennas are now up to half price. These and more great Jaycar Easter savings on now at 7 stores across Adelaide.
Don't miss the Ranella Mazda Mad March 4-day sale event. Score incredible deals, free CTP, free Rego, plus your choice of one of 3 huge bonuses. This 4-day sale event must end this Saturday, only at Ranella Mazda. LVD 152780.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 24 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Try Locomat robotic gait training technology for neurological issues at Physio Extra. Visit physioextra.com.
The Voice to Parliament referendum may be held without bipartisan support, with the release of the referendum wording failing to win over the Libs. Here's Eliza Edwards.
Australians now know the exact question that will be put to them in a referendum later this year. The wording: do you approve this proposed alteration to the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing a voice? Now the federal government begins the task of winning over the public as the Liberals continue to demand details on the proposed advisory body, so Labor may have to fight a referendum campaign without bipartisan support. To succeed, the referendum will need a national majority to vote yes, as well as a majority of people in a majority of states.
Police use road spikes to stop a speeding car in the western suburbs early this morning. The black Subaru sedan was first spotted at Christie Downs and followed down the Southern Expressway and Marion Road to Netley, where it was spiked. It lost a front tyre on Henley Beach Road and eventually came to a stop. The 19-year-old driver was arrested soon after, with illicit drugs and a baseball bat allegedly uncovered in the car. He's been charged with numerous offences, including trafficking a controlled drug, dangerous driving and breach of bail. A recreation centre at St Clair was broken into early this morning with food and drink stolen. A 15-year-old girl and 2 16-year-old boys were caught nearby. They've been charged with aggravated serious trespass. Transgender female athletes are being banned from competing in international athletics events. World Athletics has also announced tighter restrictions on athletes who have differences of sexual development. The science is limited because there are no transgender athletes competing in international competition in athletics. So President Sebastian Coe says they've had to adopt the overreaching principle to protect the female category.
The Council has agreed to exclude male to female transgender athletes who have been through male puberty from female world ranking competitions from March the 31st this year. However, in order to do further research into our transgender eligibility guidelines, we will be establishing a working group.
The parents of a Queensland toddler who swallowed a button battery will today find out how much damage was done to her burnt esophagus. Amity Buchanan had to be placed in an induced coma after she ingested a battery from an old car key. The 1-year-old's father says she appears to be recovering well. There's chaos on the streets of France as nationwide protests enter their 9th day. Police are firing tear gas as hundreds of thousands of people march across France, angry at the president's plan to raise the pension age. Emmanuel Macron says he's standing firm on the proposed changes, which will come into force by the end of the year. The head of TikTok has vigorously defended the Chinese-owned app before a US congressional committee. Pressures mounting in the US for an outright ban because of national security concerns. Committee Chair Cathy McMorris-Rogers has told the hearing TikTok can't be trusted.
TikTok collects nearly every data point imaginable, from people's location to what they type and copy, who they talk to. Even if they've never been on TikTok, your trackers are embedded in sites across the web. TikTok surveils us all, and the Chinese Communist Party is able to use this as a tool to manipulate America.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with footy. Port Adelaide forward Orazio Fantasia says he's feeling good as he prepares for his second game of the season against Collingwood at the MCG tomorrow. Fantasia was subbed out at three-quarter time against Brisbane last week, but he told David and Will that was simply about management.
We sort of had the luxury a little bit at three-quarter time where Kenny just said, I'm just going to take you out of the game at this time. You haven't played for a long time, and it'll just give you a good opportunity to manage the body and get through and, rest up for next week.
The Power will train at Alberton this morning before heading to Melbourne ahead of their clash against the Pies. Adelaide's players will also train today. The Crows have brought in Lachie Scholl for his first game of the season, with Jordan Butts and Tyler Brown both dropped. The Crows will also have to replace Shane McAdam, who failed in his bid to have a 3-match suspension either downgraded or overturned. And there was one game last night with Carlton edging out the reigning premiers Geelong by 8 points at the MCG. Charlie Curnow leading the way with 5 goals. It was a bad night for reigning premiers, with the Penrith Panthers going down in the NRL to the Parramatta Eels 17 points to 16. To cricket, and Victoria is 8 for 194 heading into day 2 of the Shield final against Western Australia at the WACA. In some tennis, Aussie Jordan Thompson's out of the Miami Open after losing in 3 sets to Slovakia's Alex Molcan. Fellow Aussies Thanasi Kokkinakis, Jason Kubler and Chris O'Connell will all hit the court in their matches shortly. And Jason Day has made it 2 from 2 to start the World Match Play event in Texas. That's after beating Frenchman Victor Perez 2-1. But fellow Aussie Adam Scott lost to American Sam Burns. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
At Glandore, got urgent civil works on Anzac Highway just past South Road as you're heading outbound. The Loudburst Water Main Road near Russell Street speeds up to 25. And in the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night between East Terrace and Taketival Terrace. That's for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival, which will be excellent. Busy at the moment, South Road at Mile End with the Camera Airport Road at Brooklyn Park. South Australia, the Murray River is calling. Help revive our river communities after the floods. Rise up for our river. Visit southaustralia.com/river revival. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
A partly cloudy day, heading for 24. Mostly sunny tomorrow, 25. A shower or two Sunday, 24. And showers on Monday, 22. Right now, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
Seven minutes after 8. Feedback Friday, not too far away.
I always think of Flying High when we hear this song.
Yeah. Prolonged dance scene, yeah. Why did Lydia Thorpe get manhandled by the AFP? You'll hear the audio that led up to the incident in about 10 minutes' time.
She's
also
sort of becoming the left-wing version of Pauline Hanson, I reckon.
That's a great example. The other thing we're going to do is reveal the band that has agreed to play at King Charles' coronation. They found someone, finally. That will be coming up in just a moment too. Then Feedback Friday. Michael Smith will join us. We'll flash back with Michael from 7 News. And then after 8:40, the Health Minister, Chris Picton, will join us to tell us what he learnt yesterday about the state's hospital pillow shortage. It's time for Breaking It 8.
Well, that story, which really blew up yesterday, started here on the 5AA Breakfast Show with our next guest, who we thought we would get back for Breaking It 8 to see how it all played out. Teresa, who, to her great credit, rang us, got in touch with us, and our producer Lucy organised the entire thing. It was a story, Teresa, that really sort of shone a light on just how ordinary the levels of care and the amount of human dignity that the public hospital system provides at times. Well, you told us about what happened with your father, who's aged in his 90s at the QEH. It was a pretty crazy day for you yesterday. How did it all pan out in the end?
Well, it ended with a Bex and a lay down, that's for sure.
I hope you had a pillow at home.
Oh, my God, I had many. Look, it was a huge day and it just took on a life of its own. I have to firstly thank 5AA, you guys, Lucy, I have to say, I said many times I'm not politically aligned, but I feel like between Daniel Spears and Ashton, Elise Baker, who was amazing, the media person. I also had a call from Peter Malinauskas with Chris Picton, all wanting to hear, obviously the events that happened. By the end of business yesterday, I received a message saying a release had been done to do a full audit into all the hospitals. I had a call from Chris Picton late yesterday, telling me exactly that, and that he basically promised that in a week he will have all the results from that audit. They've got 1 week to get the job done.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
And look, we mainly wanted to get you on just to thank you for bringing this to the public's attention, Teresa, because so many other people contacted our show after you came on saying that they had the exact same experience. So it's a testament to the importance of going public with things like this, which clearly are not acceptable.
Yeah, you're right, and I can't thank you enough for that. But I'll be honest with you, what surprised me a lot is that once I've been on in the morning, because I work in aged care, I work up here in the Campbelltown area. I don't know if I can give a plug for the business here where we work.
Of course you can.
It's Direct Care Australia in Campbelltown. We do NDIS and aged care. So I was inundated with text messages and photos. So I didn't give permission yesterday for any photos to be done of my dad for obvious, well, I'd like to think they're obvious reasons. But I got photos of people, exactly what we were saying, that folded up towel, rolled up blanket under the head. And it just occurred to me late yesterday, I thought, where the hell have I been living? I didn't know all this was really, so serious and so bad. So yesterday I was surprised on many levels. So I'm glad by coming onto your show, creating awareness and being a voice. But what not a highlight, but what stood out to me is that this has been going on for months.
Yeah, you weren't the only one surprised. I think the state government was too. And all the people that had to go without. We're still getting texts today, stories from people who found that the request for a pillow was a bridge too far in the public health system in South Australia somehow.
Yeah, and the thing too, it's made the government, the fact that Teresa told a story, the government's had to change its tune, because back in March, I'm reading the headline now, the ties around this: father forced to retrieve own pillow for son after Ra offer warm towels as an alternative for his overnight stay. Now, when this happened at the time, the Health Minister, Chris Picton, said the hospital did not have a bedding shortage and that there wasn't an issue in terms of not enough pillows. Well, clearly there has been an issue, and it's taken people like Teresa telling her story for the government to actually turn around and do what they did yesterday, which is the statement that was issued, which I have lost because I've just got so many texts by other people listening to this segment, but to announce an audit. So there's a full audit underway. Every local area health network has been told by the Minister to come back within a week and let them know that they have got exactly what they need in terms of bedding. So we will await the outcome of that audit with interest, and good on you, Teresa, again, for getting the ball rolling on this one.
Never underestimate the power of calling in with what you think might be a small qualm as well.
100%.
8223 is the number. If ever you spot something you think just isn't up to snuff,
and
in
we'll always
modern
have
society.
We'll always have a crack in your bar. We've got no allegiances to anybody. We
Absolutely.
think we pay enough through our damn taxes.
Yep.
In a first world society like this one, we shouldn't have to deal with third world conditions in hospitals.
13 minutes after 8. Let's have a look at some of the other stories that are knocking around this morning. We had a few texts about this. Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe was pulled to the ground after she attempted to storm a stage at a rally that was held in Canberra by this Posey Parker, Kelly Jane Keane. You might note this anti-trans activist that's been travelling the country doing all manner of public events. Well, this one, Lydia Thorpe was at a pro-trans rally, which tells you something about the lawns of Parliament House. It's just always pro and anti someone about something. She charged at the stage with the Aboriginal flag draped around her neck, and in the process was tackled or pushed to the ground by the AFP. Have a listen.
Now, I went to tell her that they are not welcome here, and I got pulverised by the police by simply telling that person that they are not allowed to be here.
The stupidity of this is like, this is sort of what she does for a living. This entire existence funded by the taxpayers, and you just think, this posturing, look at me nonsense. Having said that, though, I reckon the cops, the AFP have said they're investigating it.
Because they didn't know she was a senator, clearly.
Well, I don't know whether that should make any difference or not. I mean, the idea that if you're a senator and you're there, you don't get sort of...
Yeah, well, it shouldn't, but it would.
Flipped and thrown to the ground. But it looked excessive to me.
Yes.
Like, regardless whether she's a senator or not, she wasn't being violent.
In the AFP's defence, we have seen clashes between these two groups of protesters get violent and really ugly. We saw it here in North Terrace the other day. We've seen it get out of control. So they may have been on edge. I agree, it looked excessive. It was one woman by herself running along, getting knocked over. But
she would have loved it.
Oh, my goodness.
She couldn't have scripted it any better.
Couldn't have played out better. King Charles has finally got someone to play at the coronation. The list of those that were otherwise engaged is long. Ed Sheeran and Adele, they had other commitments they were locked into. Elton John, Harry Styles, the Spice Girls.
Who's he got? Don't tell me it's Bucks Fizz reforming.
No, it's not Bucks Fizz. They were busy too, like Elton John, Harry Styles and the Spice Girls. All three artists were tied up with other events. Kylie Minogue got asked the question. They went to the sort of the colonial angle. No, Kylie, long negotiation, couldn't get it across the line. So, playing at the coronation, we have... Stay close to me.
I Want It That Way?
No.
What is it? What's that song about?
Is that
anyway?
Backstreet Boys?
What does that even mean, I Want It That Way?
Don't know. Take That is... Take That probably most famous for... It's where Robbie Williams started, and
he's better at getting Robbie Williams.
Well, these people have made clear that he won't be part of this. So it's Take That minus Robbie Williams that will be playing at the coronation. There are...
Robbie Williams singing Come Undone would be a really good... move for the new king.
There are a couple of others that will be participating.
Let Me Coronate You.
There'll be. I mean, you could do all sorts.
Writes itself.
Andrew Lloyd Webber and Lionel Richie will be performing. Lionel Richie apparently friend with King Charles,
dancing on the ceiling,
doing him something of a
hello.
Doing him something of a favour.
Is it me you're looking for?
Some interesting news out of... I found this story absolutely fascinating out of Hollywood this morning. We talk often about the decline of the movie industry. What's its future? When we do, what do we talk about being the biggest challenges to it? And if you were to name two companies, what would they be?
Two movie companies?
No, two challenges to the music industry.
To the music industry?
Sorry, the movie industry.
You'd probably name streaming services, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you
Netflix?
might name Apple, you might name... something like Amazon, even. Well, it turns out they might be the saviour of the movie industry. Apple has just announced, as covered by Variety in the United States, it's planning to spend $1 billion per year to make films that will play exclusively in cinemas. $1 billion a year to make movies that play exclusively in cinemas. Amazon made a commitment a couple of months ago that they're going to do 12 to 15 cinema-exclusive release films every single year. And in a bizarre... unpredictable twist of the future, it turns out the reason behind the investment's not a benevolent one because they love movies. Great way to advertise your streaming service is to have it on in a cinema. So they're going to power the streaming service by essentially resuscitating the movie industry. Whatever the impulse behind it is, it's fantastic. They're actually going to get some money invested in movies again.
No substitute for being there
recently.
Going along the Wallace cinemas, getting your popcorn, your choc ice.
Absolutely. Michael in Aberfoyle Park has called in. Morning to you, Michael.
Hey, morning, fellas. I was listening intently to Teresa's story with her father in the pillow. I might just be able to top it. My daughter took her infant son to the Flinders Paediatric ED a few weeks ago. He was rather unwell. They left home in a real hurry. Got there with her hubby. They wouldn't let hubby in, so he's turned around and gone home. She ended up waiting over 3 hours to be seen. While she was waiting, she's breastfeeding. Asked one of the nurses for a cup of water. Nurse went away, asked a couple of other nurses, came back and said, sorry, can't help you. There's no vending machines, no water fountain. A young breastfeeding mother with a sick infant couldn't even get a cup of water in the Flinders ED.
That sounds ridiculous. That's disgraceful. Crikey.
Well, my wife and I ended up going down there and taking her some water and a snack while she was waiting. But, that was just
unbelievable.
Horrible.
What did she say the hospital was like that night? Was it chaos, Michael?
Well, she was in the ED, the paediatric ED. You know what? I don't know. I was just so upset about not being able to get a cup of water.
Understandably. Thanks for your call, Michael. Good on you, mate. Extraordinary, isn't it?
What country are we in?
This is the thing. Like, you keep talking about record health spending. We'll ask the Minister about it when he comes on after 8:30.
Hey, Friday feedback's coming up in just a moment. If you'd like to participate, 8223 0000 is the number. You can win yourself a $100 Samtas seafood voucher, 1 in 3 chance. All you need to do is answer a couple of very simple questions to which there are no wrong answers because it's all based on your experience. Get calling now. Friday feedback is coming up next. Always have fun with this segment. 8223 0000. First 3 callers through on the line have a chance to win that $100 Samtas seafood voucher.
Thanks, Will. At Glandor, urgent civil works. Anzac Highway just past South Road as you're heading outbound. Belair burst water main road near Russell Street, speeds out at 25. While on the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night. That's between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Busy at the moment, South Road at Myland with a Camera Education Road at Happy Valley. Amart's Furniture Frenzy sale is on now. Save big with up to 50% off bedroom furniture. Plus, get silly mattresses from $279. Offer ends Tuesday at Amart. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Brodie Smith, always a pleasure to have you in. The bump itself, it's a hot topic at the moment being spoken about. Would you be saying let's continue with it or let's just go the tackle?
Shane had a split-second decision to make when the ball popped up and went up and grabbed the footy, and he obviously chose to bump. And you're told to hit hard and defend hard, especially as a forward. And Shane's probably just hit too hard, but from what's a pretty clean hit in my opinion.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Introducing Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses offering competitive weekly repayments, including the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Available now on the all-new Nissan Qashqai ST. Plan confidently for the road ahead with Nissan Future Value Business Plus. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Hi, Australian Athletics champion Matt Denny here. Coles are the proud partner of Grassroots Little Athletics. Since 2017, they've donated over 3.8 million bananas to help little athletes live healthier, happier lives. Coles, value the Australian way.
Oh, glasses or contacts today? I don't want either. Trust Laser Vision SA, with SA's longest experience in all laser LASIK and smile procedures. Dr. Frankel has performed more smile procedures than any other surgeon in Australia. So speak to Laser Vision SA about which option is best for you. Near or far-sighted, or have astigmatism. Contact Laser Vision SA today and live your best life without the hassle of glasses or contacts.
Whether you're heading off or staying home this Easter, Jaycar has some cracking deals for you. Save up to 40% off Brass Monkey portable fridge freezers, 20% off campsite power, and up to 50% off dash cams and reversing cameras. Protect your home with up to 20% off CCTV kits and 30% off cameras. And Bluetooth speakers, portable projectors and antennas are now up to half price. These and more great Jaycar Easter savings on now at 7 stores across Adelaide.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 8, type of Feedback Friday, the easiest way to win a prize on radio in Adelaide. We've got a $100 Samtas seafood voucher for one caller. Everyone who's a part of it, though, gets a Kyneton's Bakery Hot Cross Bun Variety Pack, 8223 0000. Just get calling right now. We'll ask you a couple of questions to which there are no wrong answers.
We love this segment.
As Debbie will ably demonstrate from South Plympton in a moment. Debbie, good morning to you.
Good morning, lad.
Debbie, what's the longest you've ever been without power?
Probably about 11 hours.
Oh, do you have
11 hours.
Do you have candles in your home ready to go, or did you have to make do in the dark?
Or kerosene lamps?
No, I have 6 very naughty cats that would knock candles off. No candles at this house.
Good call.
Oh, you don't want to set the curtains alight with your mad kitty.
50,000 plus homes without power
With the naughty
earlier in the
pussies,
week.
yeah.
Are you a soft pillow or a hard pillow person? A lot of pillow talk on the program this week.
Hard pillow, except for those hospital pillows are disgusting.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's if you're privileged enough to get one, obviously. Debbie, on Good Friday, do you only eat? Do you avoid eating meat? Red meat?
A Catholic from way back, and I don't really believe in religion even anymore. But the guilt of me makes me not eat. Red meat.
This is the Catholic. I hear you, Debbie.
See, Will likes to go to about
Catholic
5
guilt.
football games on Good Friday.
No, they never said anything about football in church, but meat, I get you, Debbie. You get the Catholic guilt gets to you.
Yeah, it's like the Jewish guilt.
Scott Morrison is likely to leave politics after this weekend's New South Wales election. Do you give him a pass or a fail as Prime Minister, Debbie?
I'm going to give him a fail.
Okay. Hot chip prices have surged by up to 40%. Where do you get yours from? What's the best hot chips in South Plympton?
Actually, Goody's fish shop has just moved into our area. I believe they're from Goodwood. They've moved into the shops at Ascot Park.
Okay.
And their chips are pretty good.
Good on you, Debbie. Thank you.
There's not
Feedback
many
Friday.
bad chips around.
Let's
We're
go.
spoilt for choice with good chips in Adelaide.
Let's go to Grange. Vinny, good morning.
G'day, lads. How are you today?
Good,
thanks,
Vinny.
Vinny.
If your fridge, Vinny, had no power for 24 hours, are you still eating the food inside it?
Touch and go, but I would have got an esky just in case.
Yeah.
You
You
give it-
keep the door shut. It stays relatively cold.
Give it
Maybe
the-
keep away from the
True.
smoked salmon if you've got any.
Give it the sniff test.
True.
Are you a 2-pillow or a 1-pillow person, Vinny?
2 pillow, but when I get up in the morning, I'll get a sore head, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe you should revise that decision. Hey, we had Kendall Braddock's 25 years at 5AA yesterday. We got her in the studio and congratulated her on an incredible career thus far. It's still ongoing. What's the longest you've ever had a job in one place?
I worked for a place for about 15 years, and I just had enough. I just wanted a sea change. I just wanted something different. You know, you get stale after a while.
Yeah, fair enough.
Grange is a good spot for a sea change, mate.
Vinny,
Look, I see Will at the coffee place sometimes, but I'm too scared to say hello. So I
what,
don't
a spare
say hello.
room?
Well, yeah, I don't want to. You know,
Say
I know
g'day
that's
to him,
his,
Vinny.
you know, no, because that's his time. You know what I mean? You don't need
Vinny.
to be let the guy
He's not
go.
a total prima donna, even though he's a TV star now too.
Yeah.
Vinny's down there beating off people trying to get his autograph.
You make sure you say hi next time, Vinny, and you share me with some Kyneton's hot cross buns that you're going to get from this little participation in the program. Let's go back to Plympton Park. Jane's called in. Hey, Jane, what's your rule on milk expiry? Do you let it go past the date? Do you throw it out on the date? What's your rule?
Never let it go past the date.
You toss it out once it's past the date?
Yeah, down the drain.
I'm like you, Jane. Our former producer used to say I was like a cat. I was just unpoisonable because I was just so cautious with food. The national sleep average for adults is 7 hours. The national average for, the worldwide is 7 hours. In Australia, we get less than that. Do you get more or less than 7 hours sleep a night?
Well, put it this way, I'm in my bed for much longer than that, but my sleep is very, very stilted.
Okay.
I have the radio on 5AA all night, and it's okay because if I wake up at least I hear somebody. But you know, I'm not a really good sleeper. So,
Hey Jane, do you think Donald Trump should be arrested?
should do something with him.
Excellent
Should have been
answer,
arrested
Jane.
years ago.
Excellent answer. We're celebrating Neighbour Day this weekend. Do you like your neighbours?
I've got one very good neighbour, and I've got 2 that anybody could have.
Jane, you have a wonderful way with words. Jane has a magnificent way of communicating exactly what she's thinking without saying anything impolite. And for that, I think she gets the $100 Samtas seafood voucher.
Jane has both hands well and truly on the Samtas voucher. And for our other participants...
Vinny and Debbie, both
Vinny and Debbie, get the kite and hot cross buns.
Absolutely. Good on you. Thanks for participating. Feedback Friday back again next week. 29 after 8. 5AA News is coming up.
We've all got our favourites in life, and there's nothing better than a trip up the hill to the Barossa. Ancient soils, old vines, and plenty of those first-class wines. A must-stop while you're there is my mates at Rusden Wines. I've done the trip, and there's nothing better than sitting in front of that fireplace with a glass of me old faithful Blackgut Shiraz. Footy season means red season, so do yourself a favour and make your next red a Rusden. Check out rusdenwines.com.au.
Choosing the right lawn is easy at the Turf Farm. They're continually trialling and testing to see what works best in SA because our dry summers and droughts can be brutal on lawns.
The Turf Farm has found a real gem. It's called Tiff Tuff, a hybrid Bermuda grass developed by the world's leading turf scientists. Now, Tiff Tuff is drought tolerant, it's winter green and extremely durable.
It's the only lawn to be formally recognised with the Smart Approved Watermark, which is a new benchmark for drought tolerance in turf grass in Australia. And it has an amazing 50% shade tolerance as well.
That's right, the Turf Farm team are the experts in beautiful lawns and happy customers. Check out their excellent website, turffarm.com.au. The Turf Farm, the lawn you'll love.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 24 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
World Athletics has announced tougher rules on transgender athletes in female competition. Male to female transgender athletes who've gone through male puberty are being excluded from female competition. World Athletics President Sebastian Coe says the decision's been made after consultation with many stakeholders, including athletes and the UN.
The World Athletics Council has today taken the decisive action to protect the female category in our sport. And to do so by restricting the participation of transgender and DSD athletes.
The state's road tolls climbed. The 74-year-old woman lost her life after her SUV slammed into a tree at Strathalbyn yesterday, bringing the road toll to 37. That's 21 more than a year ago. 3 teenagers have been arrested accused of breaking into a recreation centre at St Clair early this morning. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a witness called police after spotting them inside the centre on Woodville Road.
2 of them were arrested while the third ran off, but police dog Duke and his handler were called in and located the third suspect hiding in a bush. And the youths had stolen food and drinks from inside the centre, and a girl aged 15 from Black Forest and 2 boys aged 16 from Fulham and Findon were arrested and charged with aggravated serious criminal trespass.
The Indigenous Affairs Minister's defending the wording of a proposed constitutional change which would enshrine an Indigenous voice to Parliament. The opposition and some constitutional lawyers are concerned the change is too broad and could open the High Court up to legal challenges. But Linda Burney's told Today the changes have gone through a rigorous review process.
We've had some of the best legal minds in the country advise on the wording and the amendments, and I am here to draw a line under those facts. We have not approached this in a frivolous way at all.
Flavoured vapes would be banned and warning labels made mandatory under a proposed crackdown to stamp out vaping among young people. Chandra Llewellyn reports.
Australia's medicines regulator wants the nation to keep its tough prescription-only stance on vaping, but is releasing recommendations to tighten import rules and product standards. The Therapeutic Goods Administration wants to eliminate bootleg sales of colourful and flavoured single-use vapes. Research has shown easy access to those products is leading to a sharp increase in their use among children. The federal government is now considering the recommendations made.
Adelaide's newest high-rise One Festival Tower will celebrate a major milestone today. There'll be a topping out ceremony to mark it reaching 29 stories. It's located in Festival Plaza and is part of the Riverbank precinct. Deloitte is one of the big-name companies who will be moving in next year. Former US President Donald Trump's fate remains in limbo as the probe into hush money payments made to an adult film star is pushed back. US correspondent Alison Petrovsky reports.
The Manhattan grand jury met today, but not to discuss the Trump case, pushing any indictment vote into next week. Republican lawmakers have been demanding information into the probe. New York Attorney General Alvin Bragg hit back today, saying the former president created a false expectation that his arrest was imminent. So far, Donald Trump has fundraised more than $2.2 million for his 2024 campaign since he announced he was about to be detained. His money-making expected to continue in Texas, with a rally scheduled this weekend.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
4 early bird winners will score $250,000 in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery. Deadline midnight Friday.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with footy. Port Adelaide forward Orazio Fantasia says he's been thrilled with the progress of new recruit Jason Horne-Francis. The number one pick from 2021 had 25 touches and booted a goal in last week's clash against Brisbane. And Fantasia told David and Will there's still so much upside to his game.
He's only 19 years old. Like, he's fending blokes off and kicking goals from 50, and he can do everything. He's courageous and he's strong, and he reminds me of a young Nathan Buckley.
Round 2 got underway last night with Carlton 8-point winners against Geelong at the MCG. Well, Socceroos defender Milos Dejanek is setting an early goal for himself to play at a third World Cup in 2026. Australia's path towards the tournament in the US, Canada and Mexico begins tonight in Parramatta with the first of 2 friendlies against Ecuador. Dejanek has told Wide World of Sports he cherishes every opportunity he gets to play in the gold jersey.
It is one of my dreams and one of my goals. If not the only footballing goal I have is to represent Australia at another World Cup and to be able to, again, repay the country for everything they've given to me and my family.
Meantime, it's full-time in some Euro qualifiers this morning with England recording a crucial 2-1 away win against Italy. And Aussie Chris O'Connell has just lost the opening set in his first-round match at the Miami Open to Frenchman Richard Gasquet. Earlier, Jordan Thompson lost his match in 3 sets. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Worried about cheap insurance? Who offers great value cover you won't regret? Amy does. Before buying insurance issued by Amy, read the PDS and TMD at amy.com.au and consider whether it's right for you.
At Glandore, got urgent sewer works on Anzac Highway just past South Road is heading outbound, so no delays as you're heading into the city, which is good news. Belair, Burst Watermain Main Road near Russell Street, speeds at 25, and in the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night. It's between East Terrace and Tacadaville Terrace for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Busy South Road at Mile End with a camera, Fulham Park Drive at Lockleys. Enjoy the Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 SUV with savings from $3,900, but only while limited stocks last. Visit a Mercedes-Benz retailer today, T and 6 apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEAA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Partly cloudy and 24 today. Tomorrow mostly sunny, 25. A shower or two Sunday, 24. And showers on Monday, 22. Right now, 17. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Don't miss the Southern Volkswagen Mad Munch 4-day sale event. Score incredible deals, free CTP, free Rego, plus your choice of one of 3 huge bonuses. This 4-day sale event must end this Saturday, only at Southern Volkswagen. LVD 152780.
When was the last time you serviced your life jacket? Do you know which life jacket's right for you and your family? Remember to always check your life jacket for wear and tear. Self-inflatable life jackets should be serviced yearly. Check the manufacturer's instructions. Head to marinesafety.sa.gov.au for tips on servicing your life jacket and use the Life Jacket Checker tool to know which one's right for you. Wear a life jacket. It can save your life. A message from the Government of South Australia.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to FIVEAA Facebook or search FIVEAA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, FIVEAA Breakfast.
21 minutes to 9. The Health Minister Chris Bicton coming up very shortly. We'll go behind closed doors with John Blake. thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. Give away a meat tray thanks to Brighton City Meats, 255 Brighton Road in Brighton. But first, we're flashing back in time with Michael Smith from 7 News. Morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Will and David. There's obviously been a lot of focus in the last few months on the River Murray with the floodwaters heading downstream. So on Flashback this week, we thought we'd look more broadly at how important the river has been to Adelaide over the decades, particularly the establishment of the pipeline from Mannum to Adelaide back in the 50s. To give you an idea of what the city was like after the Second World War, we were fast running out of water. There were real problems with water pressure. There were regular water restrictions. We had an expanding population. And, of course, there was this real desire to industrialise, to build a manufacturing base here. There simply wasn't enough water to do it. And there was a real fear that if we wanted to manufacture things here, they'd have to do that in Whyalla or Port Augusta, where there was already a pipeline from the Murray that went from Morgan. So it was the Faith government in the 50s that said, we need to get more water to Adelaide. They chose Mannum as the site to build the pipeline, running 60 k's up to the Hope Valley Reservoir, started building it in 51, it opened in 55, and really secured a significant water supply for this city. In fact, they called it the lifeline to Adelaide. Have a listen to this. This is from a 1962 documentary from the National Film and Sound Archive.
Crossing hills like the Great Wall of China, this huge steel lifeline discharges its water into reservoirs in the hills above the city. Adelaide, Australia's modern city of parklands, lakes, homes and factories, is kept alive and growing by man's most valuable asset, water, a big proportion of which is pumped through a lifeline to Adelaide.
Now, I'm sure about you guys, but I don't necessarily think it's the sort of tourist attraction of the Great Wall of China is.
Can you see it from space, Michael?
I'm not sure about that, Will, but interestingly, speaking of space, there is a real reason to head up to that neck of the woods, because at a place called Appamurra, which is near Palmer, sort of east of Mannum, they've just painted this incredible mural on the side of the pipeline. It's about 50 metres long. It's been done by an artist called Jack Fran, and it celebrates the River Murray International Dark Sky Reserve. So it's got planets and stars, and there's a huge pelican.
We've done an interview about that. It's amazing.
Yeah, and there are plans to do more of them along there. There's plenty of canvas available, obviously, because it's 60 k's long. But another good reason to head up to that neck of the woods as those communities recover from the flooding that was seen over the summer.
I reckon you and Will should, when you're on Channel 7, you should talk like the guy in that pipeline video. just for one.
Michael might be able to pull it off. I don't think I can.
A lifeline to Adelaide with Will Gooding tonight at 6.
I'd be such a letdown after I came on after that, Michael. Thank you.
Good stuff, Michael.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Smith with his magnificent flashback segment. You can catch it on 7 News on a Sunday night. 18 minutes to 9, the Health Minister, Chris Picton, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Minister, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will and Pembo.
Thanks for joining us, Minister. You would have heard our interview with Teresa. She came back on the show again this morning as part of Breaking at 8 to talk about the response she got from you guys and the conversations she also had with the opposition yesterday. The pillow thing's become a bit of a symbol for a broader malaise, I think, in our listeners' minds about the pressures that the public health system is under.
Well, I think our hospitals, there's no doubt they are under massive pressure, and that's why we're investing every possible resource in opening up additional beds, hiring additional doctors and nurses right across the system. But I really want to thank Teresa for raising the issue about her dad and the treatment that he received. And clearly this is not an isolated incident, and you've been contacted by lots of people and we've been contacted too, and clearly it's not just recent, this goes back many years as well. And I think when it comes to providing some of those basic essentials like pillows, clearly our hospital system can do a lot better. So I've given the please explain to the boards and the CEOs that are tasked under the law with running the hospital system to make sure that they conduct an audit within the next week or so to make sure that we can work out how we get the pillows from the warehouse to the people that need them, because there's no shortage of pillows, there's no shortage of funding. We're putting in place all the funding the hospital system needs, but clearly there's in the links in the chain to get them to the people that need them, because it's clearly such a basic element for people who are sick, who require care in our hospitals.
So that being the case, it sounds like it's a staffing issue then, isn't it?
Well, potentially. But there's potentially a number of other issues that we need to look into as well about ordering systems and whether we're relying upon people putting in place those orders to get them from the warehouse to particular departments. But clearly people are under pressure. And I think, Pembo, you referred to this in your comments earlier this morning, that, and for instance, last Monday when Theresa's dad presented at the emergency department was the second busiest day the QEH has had on its record. So clearly people were under the pump, but that's not an excuse for not being able to get a pillow to somebody who needs it. We know that there's a new, much bigger emergency department coming at the QEH, which we're rapidly building and is coming out of the ground for people who can see it on Woodville Road there. But we've got to make sure in the meantime that we do everything we possibly can to get people those essentials when they need them in our hospital system.
I don't know if you're listening at 6, Minister, but we were half jokingly saying that any person who is bestowed with the honour of being a health minister in Australia these days might regard it more as a curse than a blessing. What's it feel like, though, being the first member of the Malinowskis government to be the subject of a no-confidence motion?
Oh, well, look, I'm completely focused on my job in providing health services for people and not at all focused on the games that the Liberal Party will play in the Parliament. I mean, it was welcome, of course, that it was, roundly defeated, including all the independents supporting me as well. But you're right, it is a really tough job, but it is a really important job. This SA Health is the biggest business, the biggest corporation, essentially, that we have in South Australia. We provide so many services to South Australians, and it's, as you've pointed out, is under massive pressure and has been under for some time. And with every ounce of my being, I would love that there was just a click our fingers and fix all of those problems. These do take time. Building these new wards, building these new emergency departments, putting in place those additional staff do take a significant amount of time to do. But I think all the patients, but also the people in our system, can see that there's some hope at the end of the tunnel in terms of those investments coming online.
I guess the thing is,
difference that can make to people.
How long's the tunnel? Because talking about pressure, and without wanting to do episode 156 of what the ramping promise was and the timeline and all the rest of it, but in a broader sense, do you feel like you guys might have put yourself under extra pressure by creating a perception that within 4 years you could make genuine, discernible change to a system that has got so many pressure points?
Well, I don't view it like that as a sort of political tactic. I view it as, well, we get into these positions because we want to improve things and make a difference, and that's why I wanted to do this job, and despite it being really tough, and that's why we as the government are making these choices to put so much into health and to make health a big focus, because it is really important to South Australians. It has been run down. We're not embarking upon cuts and privatisations and corporate liquidators and redundancies. We're actually about investments and additional doctors and nurses and additional wards being built. It does take time, but it's really important for those people like Theresa's dad who need that care, that we can move heaven and earth to make sure that as a state government we're doing everything we can to put in place the best possible health system we can.
So the Premier at the start of the year revealed to us that the timeline on the alleviation of ramping issues and the improvement of response times would start to come through towards the end of next year. When do we start to see improvement in our emergency departments from the increased capacity and the new beds and things coming online?
Yeah, well, let me explain why we're talking about the end of next year. And that's because so many of our investments we start to get online towards the end of next year. So at the QEH, it'll be a brand new emergency department, much bigger facilities, more beds, more operating theatres. Lyell McEwen, we're expanding the hospital substantially at Lyell McEwen, that extra beds will be available next year as well. And similarly at Flinders Medical Centre, there'll be extra beds coming online there as well. So right across the system, next year we'll be seeing more investments. There'll be a new emergency department, Mount Barker soon, new emergency department at Gawler. All of these investments are important for lifting that capacity. There's a lot of the issues that we face are the people who can't get a ward in the rest of the hospital, get stuck in emergency department for a long time. That means people get stuck in the waiting room or on the ramp, and then ultimately that means people can't get the ambulance to rock up on time. So we can't just do one of those things. We have to do all of them linked up. It does take, unfortunately, time to build those additional wards, but we're doing it as fast as we possibly can.
Health Minister Chris Picton, no doubt, will discuss all these issues again soon. Thank you for joining us this morning on 5AA Breakfast.
Happy to talk anytime.
We're going to check traffic and come back with behind closed doors in just a moment.
At Glandore, urgent sewer works on Anzac Highway just past South Road as you're heading outbound. FIVEAA burst water main road near Russell Street, speeds under 25. While on the Parklands, Wakefield Road is closed now till Sunday night. It's between East Terrace and Kettleville Terrace for the Adelaide Motorsport Festival. Busy at the moment, South Road at Mile End with a camera today, Education Road at Happy Valley. Last chance to save big with Harris Scarf's massive 3-day sale. Get 50% off cookware, glassware, quilts, blankets and much more. That's great brands at great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Question on the
prices any time of year. Trust the mighty South Aussies. Great food.
You're watching the 5AA live stream thanks to Foodland.
Mighty South Aussies, yeah. Food.
Hands down. Barnesy here from Barbecue Adelaide Weber Stores. For everything barbecue related this footy season, come see me at my Barbecue Adelaide Weber Stores, Jeb's Cross and Mile End. So, if you love a barbie and you want to learn some more, come see me at Jeb's Cross or my Mile End Weber store and prepare to get lit.
It's your last chance to be an early bird. Get your tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery by midnight tonight, and you could be $250,000 richer. Just imagine what you could do with that money. Plus, your tickets stay in the draw for the stunning Scott Salisbury home in Henley Beach. To see full lottery details and get your tickets, visit homelottery.com.au by midnight tonight. Licence M14311.
The store-wide savings spectacular is now on at Specsavers. Get any pair with standard multifocals for just $199. Choose from all the frames and all the big designer names, like Tommy Hilfiger, Country Road, Ted Baker, Carlos and Patty, and more. But don't miss out, limited time only. So to save on multifocals, should have gone to Specsavers. Conditions apply.
You've decided to build? It's exciting stuff. When you've found land, it's a good idea to get advice on what you can build on your new parcel of paradise. Get Steve from Beechwood Homes to take a look. There's no obligation, and you'll get a great understanding of what's possible. Sloping block, flat block, weird shaped block, or block on a cliff. Speak with Steve from Beechwood Homes for all the possibilities. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Google Beechwood Adelaide.
Whether you're heading off or staying home this Easter, J-Car has some cracking deals for you. Save up to 40% off Brass Monkey portable fridge freezers, 20% off campsite power, and up to 50% off dash cams and reversing cameras. Protect your home with up to 20% off CCTV kits and 30% off cameras. And Bluetooth speakers, portable projectors and antennas are now up to half price. These and more great J-Car Easter savings on now at 7 stores across Adelaide.
9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
And has been since 1959.
I'm Kate Collins.
And I'm Brenton Raglas. Join us for 9 News tonight at 6.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
This always reminds me of a joke, this song, about the guy goes to the doctor and says, I can't stop singing the green, green grass at home. And the doctor says, well, you've got Tom Jones syndrome. And he says, oh, is that very common? He goes, it's not unusual.
Thank you. Sam Daddo's in the studio. Morning, Sam.
Morning, guys. We just had a phone call off air by somebody who works at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, doesn't want to be named. An email has supposedly gone out to all staff of the hospital this morning to say that currently in storage at the Royal Adelaide Hospital, there are 2,500 pillows.
Okay.
So I don't know where they all are.
Deploy the pillows. Is there going to be like a pillow guy scapegoat is meant to ferry them from the warehouse that's going to come out?
Well, you know what was interesting? That Chris Picton was listening to our show earlier when did the impromptu, this is how things may pan out in the EDs when you've got the poor person having the mental health episode, and you've got the drug-addled meth enthusiast, and you've got the injured teens and the blah, 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 and then it's like, where's the pillows? Oh, somewhere. I don't know. Do I look like I'm here to hand out pillows? I'm trying to...
They need a pillow guy.
They do need a pillow guy.
Let's have a look at the fuel situation. You can download the free My RA app today to find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Here are some cheap spots we've spotted. The Ampol on Goodwood Road, Westbourne Park's $1.63.9. That's about as good as you'll find it. Liberty Bridge Road, Paracca's $1.69.5. The BP on the Run, Henley Beach Road, Fulham's $1.68.9. Cheapest deal, diesel was as cheap as we've seen it in a long while. The Shell at Petters Crescent Regency Park is under $1.80, $1.79.9. If you want to do some research of your own and find where the fuel is the cheapest, simply download the free My RA app today. Let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast on 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
1395. Adelaide's 5AA. This is the Saturday Sports Show. KG and Cornsey.
Welcome back, folks, to the Saturday Sports Show. Graham Corns with you, and the legend of South Australian sports broadcasting, Ken Cunningham.
Hi, Studley. How are you, son?
Well, aren't you going to argue with me and say, no, I'm not a legend?
No. I thought I would just let people hear how it would sound if I took the compliment and shut the up.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounded good.
Thank you, Studley.
Because you are a legend.
No. Don't start all that stuff, Stud. Get on with it. Come on, Stud.
Give us a call, folks.
Yes, give us a call, 8223.
Did you see the Jeremy Howe collision?
Oh, I saw it happen. I felt sick.
It's a tough game, our game.
It is a very, very tough game, but the best game in the world, Studley. And your article tomorrow in the Sunday Mail, I've read it, and it talks about all about concussion.
Yes, well, don't spoil it for people.
Well, no, but you make some good points in the article, like what effect it will have on the game that we love so much.
Yes, well, you'll have to read that tomorrow in the Sunday Mail, folks.
And I like the bit where you say that football was a different game in the 20th century and every bump was executed with murderous intent.
Don't give away my...
Coaches demanded it in those days, and that's what you've said in the article tomorrow, and you're right.
You can read about it tomorrow, folks.
And you were right also when you said that it's doubtful there's anyone who played the game for any length of time at any level who hasn't been concussed. Ken, it's a good article, Stud.
Yes, thank you, but no one has to read it now.
Although you did make a grammatical error, Studley.
What?
You made a grammatical error.
So you're correcting my grammar?
I am, yes.
What error did I make?
You said in one paragraph, far be it for this column to launch a defence on behalf of the AFL.
What's wrong with that?
The expression, Studley, is far be it from this column, not far be it for this column.
Far be it for this column.
Far be it from, meaning it's a long way away from this column to write something like that. Far be it for this column doesn't make sense.
Well, I've already filed it, so it's too late to change it now.
Well, that's a shame. You know I'm a stickler for good grammar, Stud. You can be rest assured of that.
It's not be rest assured.
Hey, big
Far be it from, of course.
Big thanks to everyone who's contributed to the program via the Dutton's text line. 3 dealerships and 10 franchises in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. Dutton's, easy to do business with, so many wonderful contributions, so many insights into the state of our emergency departments. We will continue to read them out and continue to shuffle them straight on to the Health Minister as you send them to us. So we appreciate it. And we just have a meat tray to give away, thanks to Brighton City Meats. They specialise in locally sourced grass-fed beef, 255 Brighton Road, Brighton.
Absolutely, crackerjack local butcher. Support your local butchers, folks. Get out there. We didn't claw our way to the top of the food chain for nothing, so let's get into it. The winner today is Ange, who has suggested the Wingfield dump as the obvious choice for the N-Waste facility. You are the winner of the meat tray, Ange, thanks to our good mates at Brighton City Meats.
Matthew Pantelis is coming up after 9 o'clock. We'll catch you Monday morning from 6.
Patience pays off, especially if you've been holding out for a great deal on a new Volkswagen. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen.